everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, absolutely non-league show, the show dedicated to everything from the National League North, National League South, and as always, it is in collaboration with the fantastic NL Full-Time. It's just the three of us though this evening. I have got my voice back, so don't all worry. I'll be doing a lot more talking. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But of course, I couldn't do it alone. So I brought two of my pals with me. I tell you what a dream team we've got tonight. No offense to the others. I love them all dearly. But two of my favourite people, even you, Morgan. Even you.
Me. Even me.
But first, Ben, how are you? How's your Monday been so far?
Well, I'm all right. I'm a bit stiff. I've got back into playing Sunday League for the first time in a year yesterday.
Saw that.
Yeah, so I even got the little camera out for a little TikTok as well, if anyone hasn't seen it.
How was it? Is it like you've never been missing?
Well, I mean, it's like I say, about 2.5 years since I last filmed a game, put online. But yeah, no, it felt all right. I mean, I lost the love for playing for a little bit, and it was nice to be back out there amongst a brand new team for me as well. So yeah, no, they made me feel really welcome. Albeit we lost the game, but no, I really enjoyed being back it. But I love the fact as well that we've that unintentionally you put yourself on top again, Shah, and Morgan's down at the bottom.
All the
Is
time.
this kind of good advice, is it? How are you anyway?
It's the only hope. It's the only hope I have right now. But yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I will get onto it a little bit later. Dale did frighten me a little bit on Saturday, but yeah, Mr. Ian Henderson got the job done. The goal is all I'm saying, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. But of course, Morgan, how are you and how's your Monday been?
No, I'm good. I mean, York won. I wasn't particularly happy with it, and I got into some conversations with some York fans on Twitter, which I'll get into a bit later. But I sent you one of the tweets. Yeah, some people had some words to say. That was weird. But yeah, no, Monday was actually pretty good. Relatively busy at work, which was nice to keep me busy rather than sit around doing nothing. And it always means the time goes quickly when you got stuff to do.
Definitely. And of course, it's not just us. We have some lovely people in the chat. We have got Chris. Good evening, folks. Another manager sacking in the South, abandoned game in the North, and two players on the same team fighting. Wow. It sounds like a great weekend. A fantastic weekend. And of course, a lot still to go in the fighting for league titles, playoffs, and relegation with a month of the normal season to go. Lots to talk about. Oh, Luke, I need you and your team to do some magic for me tomorrow. Here's put, all right, everyone, we've lost, but in high spirits still with Rob in charge. All I'm going to say is Levi Amanci. Come on, son.
Yeah. My boy.
It'll be my boy if he scores. No offense, Morgan. No offense, but I'll do whatever it takes right now because I'm scared. We've got Danny as well. Evening, Danny. Hope you're okay. Big bounce back win tomorrow for Gateshead. Right, Luke? Right. Even Danny's trying. We're all trying. And we've got Steve as well. Evening, everyone. Evening, Steve. Hope you're okay. He's also put, I hate football. Exhausting to watch. Oh, bless you. Chris has put as well, good evening, Shah, Ben and Morgan. CBM. That could work. CBM. CBM. It's better than our EFL one.
Yeah, it sounds like an American TV channel, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Basically what you just said, it's
CBM.
Yeah, get yourself in advertising, Shah, you'd fit.
Oh, the other day, right, I don't know if any of you got to catch it, but it was myself, Anne and Drita on our Absolute Football Podcast EFL one on a Thursday. We were ACD, Googled it. It's a type of skin rash.
CBM already there. If anyone can find out what it stands for, put it in the comment section.
Yeah, CBM. Anybody in the chat, if you can Google what CBM is, it'd be much appreciated. I'm hoping it's not kind of some sort of disease or anything because I'm already a skin rash. I'm an irritant as it is as well. That's just me in life. We've got Matt as well. Evening, Shah, Ben and Morgan. Evening, Matt. Hope you're okay. We are so back. I know. I know. I love it. I love it. We have got as well, Luke. Hello, panel and live chat. Great to see everyone there. Hello. Hope you're okay. Luke, I tell you what, you're my favorite person right now. Please. Please. Please.
Pretty please.
Anisha. Ah, Flawless saying hi to Chris first. This bromance, tell ya. But he has said hello to Charlotte and the whole panel. Let you off. As always, as well, if you don't already, please subscribe to Flawless's channel. Absolutely great content creator. Luke has put, we are playing 5 at the back against York tomorrow. Do it. Do it. We've got as well. Oh, thank you so much, George. Great content, enjoying the show. I do appreciate that. And thank you so much for joining. We've got MCV as well. That could be another thing.
That could work. Sounds like a digger though, doesn't it? MCB.
Yeah, it does. Oh. Oh.
Is this whole green thing?
That's what we're going for.
So I'm literally, do you know what? I'm involved in all of them. I'm a rash, and now I'm full on battles and mucky bits. I feel like I'm the one who's dragging us down. No matter what group I'm in, I'm dragging us down. It's the C, I think.
We can't even use your surname either, Char. Can't even go off your surname.
I know, because it's a C.
C.
Double C. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Graham. Hope you're okay. Oh, he meant camp, central defensive midfielder. Apparently CBM stands for cubic meter.
Oh. That doesn't sound as bad.
That sounds better. That sounds better. We're getting there. We're getting there. See how she be hating. I'm always hating on you, Flawless. Always. Always, always, always. Oh, I like that one. I could get on board with this. I love a good comic book. Yeah, that's the best one, I think. That is
Marvel
the
over
best one.
DC, by the way, just throw it out there.
Yeah, I'm Marvel, proper Marvel head me. Iron Man. Definitely. Iron Man's my favorite. Stones and Pace to fall out over one not passing, fight each other and both. Yeah, they get a lengthy ban. I would be on board with that. I reckon the whole of York should just have a big brawl and all get fined and suspended. That's
what we do. We're uncivilized, aren't we?
You join in too, Morgan. We'll suspend you off this podcast. I'm joking.
I just want to be there tomorrow. I just want to be in the ground. It's a horrible stadium. I'm sorry, Luke. It's not a nice place to watch football, but I want to be there.
No.
It's like Chelmsford, but worse.
You're literally so far away, aren't you, from it all? Like, you know me, I can't see anyway. I'm a squinter as it is. So when I'm watching football, I'm like,
You don't go to away games, do you?
I do go to away games sometimes. Yeah, when I'm not working.
Stone Island on and all of it.
Oh yeah, of course. Stone Island. Stone Island, massive me. I'm the new Wilston Raider, but the Rochdale version. I stand there going, you got no fins. Do you want some? I'll give it to you.
You showering it?
Oh, too right. You want to? I tell you what, if you get to come to that last game of the season, you will see me causing trouble on that pitch. I'm joking, everyone. If anyone's causing trouble, it will not be me. I'll be stood at the back of someone. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
No, Charlotte, what we'll have to do is we'll set up and we'll do a live version of this in the ground. We'll get a media pass and then we have to be nice to each other. And then we're both in.
I couldn't do that.
Don't have to worry about tickets because just get a media pass and sneak in. Don't have to worry about getting tickets either.
What you could do, Morgan, if you're that desperate, is dress up as Desmond or Daisy the Dragon to get in there.
Oh, Desmond the Dragon. Your best
Or
mate.
Daisy. Or Daisy.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Or Daisy. Let's be inclusive.
Yeah. I reckon if you dress up as one of them, at least you get to see the game if you can't get a ticket. We have got as well, obviously North Standard, also known as Green Acres. Sorry being absent for a bit, missed the show. Do not ever worry about missing the show. Do not ever worry. Life comes first. Life gets in the way as well. But I'm so glad that you're in tonight and you can talk all things Forest Green. Just bring binoculars, you'll be fine. More like a telescope when you're at Gateshead. Never mind binoculars. You got no fans. Oh, what a guy Willstone Raider was. He really did get famous after that, didn't he?
I think
if I dress up as like Liam Gallagher and come in with a Manchester accent, think I'd get into the Dale End?
No, because what I'm going to do is show everyone your picture. Be like, do not let me die in.
I'll just put a bucket hat on. I'll look like bucket hat and Sundays. I'll look like Liam Gallagher.
We're not City fans, Morgan.
Close enough.
You're getting Manchester City then. Lucas, but I've been coming to watch football there for 7 years. You get used to it. Yeah, that's true. You get used to your own stadium. I do get that. I think this is a little bit of sarcasm, by the way. I love Jamal Blackman. I know it was a mistake, that wasn't it? It did have a shocker. Great keeper. McGavin's shot bounced off the post and then bounced off the back of his head and hit the back of the net. I think that just sums up Morecambe's luck, bless him, at the moment. When you are struggling down at the bottom, that often happens. But do you know what? He was so good against York as well, wasn't he? And he has been for quite a lot of the season, Jamal Blackman. But yeah, it's just those little moments and individual errors, but we will get onto that a little bit later. We are going to start off, though, with National League North. So anybody in the chat, if you are a fan of a National League North team, you are more than welcome to send in your match reports, any talking points as well, we will get onto. Morgan, I will come to you first, though. National League North. Any standouts for you on here?
I'm going to start with the Southport-Chester game, just because someone I mentioned last week on the podcast scored again, so I just feel like I deserve some credit for that. Chris C, I don't know how you say his surname. It's spelled S-Z-E. Don't know how you say that. But young kid on loan from, I think he's on loan from Wigan, who used to play for Wigan. When I talked about him last week, he had 7 goals in 14 games for them. He then scored in the 90th minute this week. Southport scored twice in the 90th minute to beat Chester. Both goals were set pieces. They weren't exactly good goals, but they just, one was a corner, one was a long throw, and Chester just didn't deal with it. Went 1-0 up in the second half. Let me just see if I can find what minute it was. Chester went 1-0 up in the 56th minute, but then Southport just didn't give up. A corner in the 91st minute and then a long throw in the 94th minute. Southport come from 1-0 down to win 2-1. And they don't really have much to play for. They're now 13 points above the relegation zone, 11 points off the playoffs. Now just kind of having fun at other teams' demise, which I find, like, Southport, they have their struggles. Usually they don't do great. They usually bottom half of National League North. So it's nice that at this point in the season they can kind of relax and say, cool, we're safe. And one of their younger players can kind of get his name out there, who might end up in the National League next year.
Love that. What I did want to mention as well, obviously I know Chris has put it in the chat, there is an abandoned game on here. Obviously the Radcliffe Kidderminster game, we were drawing 1 apiece. 2 very serious injuries to Kidderminster players, and Chris has put all the best to Christian Dibble and Joe Fawkes for Kidderminster after the game got abandoned. They got released from hospital yesterday and are resting now. Just want to send, obviously, our best wishes to both of them. Speedy recovery as well. It's never, ever nice seeing somebody get injured, but especially 2 players. It was really, really bad circumstances at the time, and I'm just so happy that they've both been discharged now, both doing fine. So yes, sending them a speedy recovery. Ben, I will come to you next. Any on here you want to give a mention to?
It's got to be Worksop Town. I think they got the result of the weekend, to be honest, over the league leaders. I mean, just when you think that they might have enough to, pull away from South Shields now, because it was starting to get a little bit away from them. I think they had, a 4-point gap, and now that's sort of put another spanner in the works, to be honest. I mean, Lewis Whittam getting the goal towards the end of the first half, which, again, has really opened up the title race, and South Shields now will be, again, breathing down their necks, as we've seen, obviously, the National and obviously the South as well. But yeah, that's a huge result for them. And also brilliant for Worksop because, they're probably looking at now 1 win out of the next, last six games, which should be enough for them really to to be able to be safe in the division for a second season. Again, they've done tremendous. They have. I mean, I think I had them down for relegation, I think, this season. And you know, I think probably didn't take into account how much of an experienced squad they had as well. Players that played, you know, National League, and some played in the Football League as well. So they have the know-how how to get results in that. And look, it hasn't been pretty for them at times. They've probably learned a lot from being in the division. But look, they've gone and taken a big scalp against Fylde. I mean, when you're playing against one of those sides like them or South Shields, you're going to raise your game, because you want to have your say in this sort of title race, especially when they're soon going to have nothing to play for. A bit like what Morgan was just saying with Southport. I mean, with Southport as well, they can just focus on the FA Trophy now, because they've got to that 50-point mark. They could put all their energy now into making sure they get Saturday right against Southend. But yeah, great result for Worksop, and that response will be needed from Fylde if they want to keep clear of South Shields, because they definitely won't be going down without a fight. Put it that way.
100%. Obviously, South Shields did beat Merthyr Town 4-1. I know we've been talking about Merthyr a lot, haven't we, this season, how well they are doing. So yeah, that's a fantastic result from South Shields. Luke made me laugh with this. South Shields, man. This is what makes me laugh. I can just imagine him do it in the accent as well. South Shields, man. I have a couple of friends that support them. They will slip up, hopefully. So, yes, very, very good result for them. Blackett with a brace, and then Finch and Bainbridge. And then they did get Merthyr Town a penalty. They did score that penalty as well. So, yes, very fantastic result. Because, like I said, we've been speaking about them a lot, both teams this season, and how well Merthyr are doing. And for a strong Merthyr team to obviously lose 4-1 against South Shields, it just shows how well South Shields are actually doing, doesn't it? Makes it a little bit more interesting as well, because I know a few of us were talking about it the last few weeks, saying, we think Fylde, and we think, obviously, because Fylde were clear at the top, but it just makes it that little bit more interesting. And as in the chat, the post office has striked again. So anybody who is looking at it and thinking, why have I got Poe next to it? I'm not a Teletubbies fan, by the way. It is just because they have made the playoffs. You'll see a few of them as we go on.
I think just on that South Shields one, Paul Blackett now has a 20-goal season for the third season in a row, which is mental to be that consistent and that good. And talking of Merthyr, they're only 4 points clear of Scarborough in seventh. So at one point we were saying Scarborough Merthyr could challenge for the title. Merthyr could finish as low as seventh. This second half of the season, I know we spoke about what happens if Ricardo Rees leaves, or can they sustain this. I think we've kind of been proven right that they couldn't sustain it, and they could end up going from a title race to barely making it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think, but it's important as well. Remember, I mean, obviously, amongst the fact they've still scored a lot of goals. I mean, they're still the second highest goal scoring team in the division. They've conceded 73 goals, and there's teams towards the bottom of the league that have probably conceded less, way less than that. And I think that's obviously probably what's let them down. I mean, goal scoring hasn't been a problem from all season, but they have let in a few shockers. And I think they'll still stumble into the playoffs. I think they might probably be as low as 6th or 7th, and that I think it shows what a difference that someone like Ricardo Rees makes. When you can score 20 odd goals and then pre-challenging for the title. If you keep hold of a squad together, you've always got that chance. But I think now with him gone, they probably will struggle. I can't see him, even if they do get to the playoffs, they're going to win them. But look, even if the season was to finish now for them, they would still say what an unbelievable first season at this level for them. I don't think anyone would have expected 66 points of them with still 6 games to go. But yeah, I think that towards that South Shields one probably would have been a free hit for them. Going South Shields away from home, and they're probably all firing cylinders at the moment with challenging for the league. It was always going to be a tough ask for them, but no, you still got to give their credit, and I hope they do make it into the playoffs, because it would be a great first season for them.
Chris has mentioned as well, Merthyr are having a right nightmare at the moment with injuries.
Oh, there you
go. This as well. Chris has also put Fylde have Marine at home on Tuesday night. Huge game for both teams for different reasons. My heart's always with Marine and Bobby Grant. I do apologise, AFC Fylde fans. But yes, my heart is always with Bobby Grant and Marine. Danny has put as well, when I did mention about Murphy getting a penalty, it must be fun scoring penalties. Yeah, Like, I will get onto it a little bit later, but when Dale got awarded a penalty the other day, I was like, no, don't give us a penalty. We never score them.
Sometimes you don't even take them either.
We don't take them. We don't score them. We just do what we want, honestly. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But I am going to go to the chat because we do have a couple of match reports. I do have yours as well, Chris. So do not worry. I have started. But we have superb result for Marine. Apparently, that's only AFC Telford's second loss at home this season. Finn Sinclair Smith got to 50 goals in his 150th appearance from the club. Great player. I know we talk about Marine a lot. Obviously, a 2-0 win for Marine. Bobby Grant, yet again, he's doing a fantastic, fantastic job there. Obviously, still in the FA Trophy as well.
Yeah,
he's just a man. What a hero.
Well, the thing is, like, they've still got an outside chance of the playoffs as well. Like, they've still got a few games in hand over Scarborough. You're talking, 3 games in hand over Scarborough? So, this is the thing where it depends, obviously, how Saturday goes to, because if they do win, the trophy semi-final, then, does sort of a sudden the focus start to fall away a little bit on them, because, you wouldn't blame them for it. I mean, a club of Marine size should not be going to Wembley in the FA Trophy final. But again, if you lose it, does their league form still go down? Because they thought, that was probably our moment. But surely Bobby Grant, though, would use that as motivation, regardless of what happens, to think, look, we could have the best season possible. We could finish players. We could even get promoted and, have a day out of Wembley as well. That would just, I think that'd be every supporter's dream, and that's the thing. Like, that would probably cap, even eclipse what either Fylde or South Shields do, even win the league. Going up, but going to Wembley as well from a Step 2 side be a tremendous achievement. But yeah, they have still got a lot of football to play. I mean, let's say there's 9 games between now and the end of April. So it is going to be a lot of football then to play, obviously, plus the trophy as well. So it's going to be a big ask for them. Obviously, I don't know how big their squad is, but as they're saying, in comparison to a lot of the top teams that haven't got as big a squad. So Bobby Grant's going to have to utilise what he's got to give him every chance of being successful.
Definitely. On Bobby Grant as well, I remember when he did get the job, and I love Bobby Grant, obviously, as a player. I loved him when he was at Dale and stuff, one of my favourite players. But I thought to myself, has he got what it takes at the moment as a manager? Because it's all pretty new to him and stuff. But he has proven me wrong. He has done absolutely exceptional. Very passionate as well, Bobby Grant. Like, he wears his heart on his sleeve as well. Very, very likeable guy. Very passionate. And yeah, I'm just so happy for those Marine fans. And I'm hoping long may it continue, because the way he's going and the way, if he does keep progressing, I think he could work his way up and obviously have a fantastic career in managing, because he's still fairly young as well, Bobby Grant.
Yeah, but then what's to say you can't do it with Marine? That's the thing,
Exactly.
It is a project. It is a big project going on there, especially obviously with potential ground move as well. So again, will he want to buy into that? Because it's they've clearly got good ambitions for the club. Obviously still with the FA Cup run, they've generated a lot of money. They've got the 3G pitch in now. Obviously currently at their current home ground. So there's everything for them to sustainably keep themselves at this level comfortably, if not push on maybe to knocking on the door of the National League. But I mean, I think it'd still be a little bit early for them to be going for it. But look, no side's ever too small to go up. You look at no disrespect to them, Truro City, like they were one of the smallest clubs technically in the National South last year, and they blitzed everyone away, by winning the league the way they did. It was absolutely tremendous. So and you like seeing some of those smaller teams getting a go. I mean, Oxford City have as well had their time in the National League. Like
North Ferriby United got into the National League and then beat Wrexham at Wembley. Like, we've seen it happen. Obviously, Truro are the most recent example. Oxford only a couple of years ago. North Ferriby was about 10 years ago. But we've seen it happen. So there's no reason why Marine can't. If they're doing things sustainably, like you said, then they definitely can.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they get fairly decent crowds as well. Like, for like I say, because it's typical around that area, because you've got the 2 Liverpool sides around there. It's a hard catchment area. I find that with a lot of the teams, like especially in the north and everything, because you've got a lot of times, even like with your Rochdales, your Altrinchams, it's probably harder to get the ball in, because you've got your Manchester United, you've got your Manchester Cities like right nearby. I mean, and clubs in and around that area. So it's always tough to find fans. So I think that's the thing. They've got to try and do things differently, at this level and below as well, to try and get the fan base in. I mean, Bury have been, it's been a blessing for them, the fact they've always had a big fan base, and they're on their way back up because they've got the big backing and everything now of it. So yeah, it really does depend on the club's business models and how it works. But Marine have got one that really works for them, and look, they've kept their name in there. They haven't just sat back and gone that we had our moment in the sunshine. They want to keep pushing upwards. So I say I'm all for it. I really hope Bobby Grant does get the result on Saturday. Obviously, beating Val tomorrow night as well, but then obviously taking them to Wembley against Wealdstone. That'd be fantastic for them.
Yeah, well, what you're saying about crowds, they've got ninth best average attendance in National League North. And Southport are 10th, and obviously those two very, very close in terms of geography, both up in that Merseyside area. Marine are averaging 1,267 and Southport's 1,217, so there's only average 50 people difference between Marine and Southport, so they're averaging decent crowds. Plus Marine have the FA Trophy money, the FA Cup money from a few years ago, so they've got this money plus then the 3G money. Southport have very similar crowds, but we're talking about how they're struggling at the other end of the table. So if Marine can properly capitalise, Bobby Grant does buy in, they can have this kind of sensible recruitment model and don't try and go too over the top too quickly, then we might see them in the playoffs in the next year or two, and who knows where they can go from there.
Aw. My love for Bobby Grant. I'm so glad you're all on board with it as well. Just really quickly in the chat as well, I know we were talking about obviously Ricardo Reis. Sadly, Ricardo Reis is injured and out for the rest of the season. That's really sad. Really sad that. Danny's put Reis went from a title challenging team that may struggle to get playoffs to a title challenging team who may stay in the playoffs. We have got now on the Marine situation too. I love this. Chris has put, Matt, hopefully Marine fans will be in fancy dress at the Spennymoor game as its last one of the season. I love it when they go in fancy dress to the last away game. I love seeing everyone's ideas. And Chris has put as well, just to add to, Hereford away Tuesday and Kings Lynn away Saturday for Spennymoor. Thanks, National League. Oh, not been kind at all there, have they?
That hurts.
That does hurt. I will talk about Spennymoor though, because Chris has sent in his match report. So bear with me. Spennymoor Town 1, Alfreton Town 1. Alfreton at home after the great win on Tuesday versus Curzon at home. It was Alfreton at home this time in a very frustrating game, but settled for a deserved point in the end. Have I missed one of Chris's? Bear with me. I'm sure it was more than that. Surely. It can't be a short one. That sounded really wrong. Yeah, it's a long one. Got part 2.
Where's Graham when you needed to point it out?
Exactly. Alfreton scored 15 minutes in, straight from a corner, but all time wasting from Alfreton backfired in the 86th minute when Hartlepool Loney, Kean Foreman scored a header to equalise. I thought that was too short for you then, Chris. I was like, surely there's a part 2 or a part 3 here. But yeah, a very good point, obviously, for Spennymoor. We know the context of it. It's the match reports. If anybody thinks otherwise, your mind is in the gutter. As well, if they do dress up, it should be as Marines. The locals will think they are being invaded. Imagine that one. Morgan, I am going to come back to you though.
Okay.
Any others on here that you want to talk about?
Darlington, just because that's their 3rd win in a row and their 3rd clean sheet in a row. They've now not conceded a goal in 270 minutes of football, which is, it's quite impressive. When I was looking at that, and it's quite good for their kind of playoff hopes if you flick onto the table very quickly, just because they're only a point off 3rd now. And obviously we know that 2nd and 3rd get that bye to the playoffs. And I know there's some kind of discussion of, do you want the first round of the playoffs because it means you get that momentum into the semi-finals, or do you just want to go straight into the semi-finals? I think they'll want to go straight into the semis if they can. They're only a point off it now. If they can get straight in there, it's one less chance of being knocked out. And I think when it's a one-game thing of that eliminator game, if you are knocked out, that's your end of your season. So I think if you can avoid that and keep your season going for a little bit longer, I think any team would snap your hand off for that. I think the whole idea of, do you want the eliminator game first for the momentum? That could all go wrong. Your best player does his ACL in the first 5 minutes and you lose the game and that's your season done. So I think they'll be chasing that third spot as kind of closely as they can. Chasing the top two will be difficult because Southfields and Fylde have both had great seasons. But if they can chase down Kidderminster, who are currently third, I think it is. Might be Marine. Not Marine. Merthyr.
Kidderminster.
Yeah, Kidderminster third. If they can chase down Kidderminster, get that last spot, then they'll absolutely take it. 'Cause I'd back them in the playoffs. I think I've said it before. When you look at the experience in that team, Tom Platt got the goal this weekend, who's obviously been there, done it. If they can get that third spot, then they're going to be a hard one to knock off in the playoffs, even once a team has the momentum of the eliminator game.
Definitely. I'm so sorry I started coughing then. I just quickly muted myself. No, I completely agree. We do have a lot of experience in that side. Ben, any others on here that you want to give a mention to?
I was going to aim towards Darlington, to be fair, but I mean, I think Scarborough, to be fair, it was clearly a hard-fought win for them at Leamington. Leamington have sort of, well, obviously they're still not relegated yet, but they are sort of playing for pride now a little bit. I mean, I think they could be relegated on Saturday, or potentially if results obviously go against them. So, it's at this time of the season, I'll say about every team in that, include, I think we all said about our own. You're not worried about how you're playing. You just want to win games now. It's just about getting over the line, and they're just about clinging on to that final playoff spot at the moment. I mean, it was also helpful, but obviously with Telford losing to Marine, it sort of put it back right into the mix again. But it's going to be such a battle. I think mainly for that last spot. I think it probably is going to be between Telford, Scarborough, maybe depending on as well Marine potentially, depending on how they use their games in hand. But yeah, no, it's a really good win for them on the road. I mean, Leamington will always make it difficult for them on their own home patch. I know results might not show it this season, but they've always made it probably one of the more tricky venues in terms of that. Look, it's a very different atmosphere. It's not going like to your Chesters or your Fyldes or anything like that. And it does help. Having a player like Richie Bennett, scored a late winner as well. A couple of minutes to go. It's a massive goal for them as well. I say, you just want to get out of the line. And I always say sometimes at this time of the season, it's better to win games in the last minute than win games 4 or 5-0, because in the day, I mean, obviously when we're coming to talk to the National League, I'll explain it more then, obviously with the title race. But yeah, it's a big win for them. So fair play to Mr. Was it Jonathan Greening? It's a big just about keeping it in the mix.
Yeah, Jonathan Greening and Michael Ingham as manager and assistant down at Scarborough.
I'm going to talk about obviously the Macclesfield Hereford game. In the chat as well, I know, bear with me, Matt. Hereford's recent great run finally came to an end. Plus, I saw they're having to play their final home games away from Edgar Street, so drainage works are done in time for next season. Obviously, we know the difficulties they've had with their pitch. Picked up some good form since obviously parting ways with Paul Caddis, bringing a new manager in. Unfortunately for them, it didn't go great. They did have a man sent off just before halftime, Hereford, and then obviously Macclesfield. We've seen what Macclesfield can do this season. Even despite losing the players they've lost, we've seen what they've done in the FA Cup as well, playing some really, really good stuff out in Macclesfield. It was Luke Duffy who did get a brace, and then Hereford did manage to pull a goal back in the 84th minute, but then it was Isaac Buckley who did get the third goal for them. Very good win for Macclesfield. To be fair to Hereford, they probably will be a little bit disappointed because obviously they picked up some really great form, but it's no shame obviously in losing to a great Macclesfield side, is it? But yeah, Hereford have been doing very, very well in recent weeks, as we have mentioned and highlighted. But yeah, very good win for Macclesfield.
Yeah,
I think the Hereford loss, I think it just hurts a bit more because Hereford lost, Oxford win, Bedford loss. I don't know if you're going to say the same thing, Ben, but when you look at the teams in that relegation scrap, Hereford are 4 points from safety. They do have the game in hand, but it doesn't help that one of your relegation rivals beats a Chorley team who still have a positive goal difference despite being 15th. So Chorley are having a weird season, but the fact that Oxford can go there and keep Chorley to or keep a clean sheet against them, is what you need at this point of the season.
Yeah, I think the main thing I was going to mention is the fact that the games are slowly chipping away now for them. Obviously, I think we talked about maybe last week or the week before about they've got about like 8 games in hand over everyone else. They should pick up some points out of it. And it's down to I think like 3 or 4 games now in hand. Like there's a 4-point gap, and they are going to need to start picking results. They have got 3 home games next, obviously starting with Spennymoor tomorrow. But I don't know. I think because they played 4 games in a week, from the 14th of March to the 21st of March. So. And also the trouble is they're leaking so many goals. I mean, just looking at it now, I think they've had 1 clean sheet in the last 8, I think, and they've conceded a number of goals. So, look, whether it's just a bit of tiredness that's creeping in already, look, it is a big demand for a part-time club, to match it against, some really good sides and still sides as well that have got things to chase, like Macclesfield, who have been relentless, across the season. I think again they've had a bit of depth in their squad. Obviously, still, carrying that momentum, even after the cup run finished. But they are going to need to start picking up some results. They can't keep relying, on waiting that little bit longer. They need to start taking action now. And if they don't get, the trouble they've got Macclesfield again actually next Tuesday as well. So again, they will be looking for revenge straight away. So it's going to be a tough ask for them. But you'd like to think still it's in their, it's in their hands. It's still in their capabilities. In fact, look, it's in, they just need 4 or 5 points to really put them back in the mix and start putting a bit of pressure on Oxford again. Because Oxford at the moment will be breathing with a little bit of a sigh of relief at the moment.
Yeah.
But they'll be relying, I think, on fitness, proving too much for Hereford. But you just never know. But it is going to be, it is going to be very big ask for them to carry it on for the remaining, 11 games they've got left.
I felt really rude, Morgan, as well, because I kept putting the comments up and it was over you. So I put me at the bottom. I hate doing it over other people. I'd rather it be over me. Just on to a couple of messages in the chat. Chris has put 6 points between 23rd Peterborough to 19th Bedford Town. Very, very exciting, isn't it? That relegation battle. Very, very close. And he's put also Bedford had 2 men sent off versus Buxton and getting beat, obviously 3-0 off Buxton. Yeah, not good for them. I know you obviously mentioned the Southport game as well, Morgan, before. I didn't realise it was Danny Lloyd who got the winner for Southport. I feel like in those big games, Danny Lloyd always shows up. He's someone who we know very well from when we had Jim Bentley, obviously at Rochdale. I feel like I'm pretty sure Jim Bentley brought Danny Lloyd to Southport as well when he was manager there, and it's someone he can heavily rely on. And I feel like with Danny Lloyd, his experience and he gets them vital goals when needed for them. So I just wanted to point that out because I'm just so chuffed for him, because what a player. He's just really struggled with injuries. That's obviously been his downfall, Danny Lloyd, but he's very, very quality player. He is. Just wanted to ask as well, any other ones anybody wants to speak about before we move on?
I think we've covered it or mentioned. I think we've mentioned basically all of it except Luke's 0-0 between Kingsland and Jersey. I think we've touched on all of them.
I'm pretty sure as well that's one of the only draws across the whole of the non-league football. I'm pretty sure as I was doing them, there wasn't many draws, to be honest.
No, it can't be 7 draws now. God, it's all had to win the last 6-7 games.
Exactly. We do have our fantastic Joe in the chat as well. He has put, evening, you three. A busy one for me tonight. Starting recruitment pieces for the blog for next year. Good to listen to you. Dissect the weekend's action as I go. Keep up the good work, guys. We're missing you, Joe, but I know you are a very, very busy man. But everybody as well, please, 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 if you're not already, go and check out Joe's work. Off the Line blog, fantastic pieces on there. And I know I always say it as well. I will say it at the end, but NL Fulltime is a collaboration. Their latest podcast is out, so go and check it out. Obviously, after our show, though. Obviously. Oh, no, the York fans are coming in numbers now. But good evening. I hope you're okay. But
Hold your horses. We're not there yet.
I know. Don't be giving me any grief either, guys. Do you know what? I'm actually shocked a lot of Southend fans haven't come in yet to give me grief. Southend, this time last year, Southend fans loved me. And now I'm getting so much grief off them all. I don't know what I've done.
Football fans fickle, aren't they?
I know. They were inviting me to Wembley and everything this time last year. We love you guys, though. Love it. Right, so we will get on to the National League North table. So top of the table, the post office is back. Yes. AFC Fylde are top of the table on 85 points. South Shield are second, also on 84 points, but also obviously they have qualified for the playoffs, both teams, regardless of what does happen. In third place, we have Kidderminster on 66 points. Merthyr Town are also on 66 points in fourth position. Fifth place, we have Darlington on 65 points. Macclesfield is sixth on 64 points. And Scarborough do have that last playoff spot on 62 points. And then in the relegation zone, 23rd, we have Hereford on 38 points. Alfreton are 22nd on 37 points. Peterborough Sports are 23rd on 37 points. And bottom of the National League North table, we do have Leamington on 23 points. Just quickly in the chat, those points between the top two to third is mind-boggling. I know, it's crazy. It's a little bit similar, though, in National League, isn't it? With obviously ourselves, Morgan. I don't want to brag, do we? Obviously.
Yeah.
But then Carlisle, but we are bragging. I can't even speak now. But yeah, it's very, very similar. But yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Right. National League South. I'm very quickly, Ben, if it's okay, going to leave it to you because I'm just going to quickly nip off and grab a drink, but I'll be back in literally 1 minute. You can time me.
Yeah. No, I can keep it going for sure. Well, actually, I guess I'll start with you, Morgan. Actually, is there any standouts for you from the National South over the weekend?
I think the lack of yellow on there is quite impressive. You look down, there's not a single draw, all just red and green. But now I want to publicly apologise to Adam Hinchelwood because I've slated him on this podcast a little bit too much and saying that they can't defend when it matters, can't defend kind of crunch point of the season. They've conceded 1 goal in the last 5 games. 1 goal in 450 minutes of football, if I can do maths. Like, I've slated them a little bit too much, saying he seems to have figured something out because at York, there was definitely the can he do it at the crunch time of the season? We dropped stupid points and didn't go up. And I thought the same was happening here. And they did have that slump after Christmas. Where was it? 7 losses in a row or something? They went through that really bad patch post-Christmas. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games without a win post-Christmas? And you're starting to think, kind of, have the wheels fallen off? Because in November time, they were beating everyone and you're thinking, Worthing are going to walk to this title. Then post-Christmas to go 8 without a win, and now they've turned it around. They're pressing Dorking that bit closer now, with it only being a 6-point gap, with Dorking losing this weekend. And yeah, 1 goal conceded in the last 5 games is really impressive. Teddy Jenks getting on the score sheet twice this weekend as they beat Tottenham. And I know Tottenham had that really good start to the season. They're in the playoffs, and their kind of squad depth has just hurt them as they've slowly just dwindled away. They should be absolutely fine themselves. Tottenham, they're 14th. They're 15 points clear of the drop. They're 11 points clear of 11 points off the playoffs. They are so very mid-table, and they should be absolutely fine. But I think that's a completely fine first season in the 6th tier for Tottenham, who will be one of the smallest clubs in this league.
Yeah, they are one of the smallest clubs, but I think people forget though that actually I'm pretty sure their budget isn't actually that bad. Though that's the thing. They had a lot of experience in that team, and I think the problem is
exactly, got Tyler Cordner from York. Like, they'll be paying some players a decent amount.
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, I think you got to give, like I said, credit to Worthing. Like I said, this time of the season, when obviously previous seasons and records speak for themselves. Hinchelwood doesn't tend to progress teams at this stage when, like I said, when it really matters. And now, particularly with Dorking, obviously, dropping critical points against a good Maidenhead side. To be fair, that is going to hurt them slightly. And I always just fear with Dorking that injuries might not get him over the line, though. That's the thing. I mean, I still think it's in their total control. Mark's obviously, Mark White's obviously been here and done it. He knows what's needed, to succeed at this level. And I don't think he'll feel too panicked, at the moment, because look, they're still 6 points clear. So it's still well in their control. But for sure, it's a bit of a sickener for them, really. But I mean, one result I did want to pick out on, and God, it pains me to say this, Dover Athletic, actually, what a win at Chelmsford City. I don't think many people would have given them any hope going there, because Dover's season is sort of dwindled off. Again, they're a bit like Tottenham, had a great start to the season. They were in and around that sort of top 7. And then all of a sudden, I think just again, lack of squad depth has cost them a little bit, and a bit of inconsistency. But I think if you'd offered Dover fans, the position they're in, with 7 games to go, they would have snapped your right hand off for it. But Chelmsford, again, just so inconsistent they are. The squad on paper is probably the best in this division by a mile. And, they just can't seem to do it when it matters. I mean, they got absolutely, battered by, Angelo Harrop last week against Worthing. And then, obviously, they've come out today. Obviously, they've picked up a win against Slough. But then, falling again to a Dover side they should be beating, really. So, I just don't see where they're going to sustain themselves enough quality to see it through, obviously, to get to their target, which is promotions in the National League. And I just keep thinking to myself, the amount of money that team are going to lose if they do not go up. But yeah, that's a huge blow to Chelmsford, though, isn't it? But from a Dover perspective, though, what a scout for them anyway, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I think also both Dover's goals scored by George Nickage, who's on 13 for the season. And some people might know him from playing in the Baller League, where he's played once and got 1 goal. Yeah. So, yeah. So social media has its influence again, because I know we've spoken about the Baller League and kind of non-league club relationship with it, where some players have gone and played without getting consent from their clubs. Obviously, I think KSI is a decent part of Baller League. I don't follow it too closely, but obviously, kind of he's involved with that, and then he goes and buys 20% in Dagenham. So there is this growing connection between the social media world and National League South more than anything, but non-league in general, which is, I think, always good to see when you want it to grow.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what we're talking about, obviously, so much exposure. And obviously, they've given themselves another, another bit of exposure over the weekend. Obviously, Jimmy Bull's first game in charge for Torquay. Yes. I'm pretty sure Joe's put his match report in, hasn't he?
I do have a match report here.
So Jimmy... Yeah. Did you want to read it, Charles?
No, you can. You can. Don't worry.
Jimmy Bull's first game, 1-0 loss to Daggers. Game of little quality. The only goal direct from a corner. Ball needs help with new players. The squad is fed threadbare, hanging on to players by a thread. And obviously, they bought. Jimmy Bull's already started signing players. He's brought in Dion Moore, our top goal scorer this season, after he was released by us last week, or a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, and I think for me, I mean, I've spoken with Joe about this. For me, Dion Moore's very, hot and cold. When he really fancies it, it'll be, an absolute nightmare for defenders. His hold-up play is great, but then when it's going against him, I find he gets a little bit lazy. I think he's going to find it tough at Torquay, particularly in the circumstances where they are under pressure, to deliver amongst obviously 5-6 other clubs in there. But obviously not the start they would have wanted. I mean, but Shafted, obviously, Dagenham have really got too much to play for, I think, because I think it's going to be too much to make the playoffs. But again, home form, and again, I think KSI was in attendance for the game, and they seem to be pretty showing up when he's there at least, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me laugh with KSI as well, though, because it's just, I find it so random. I know there was rumours, but I just find it completely random, the whole thing. It's obviously good. As we said, I think it was last week, wasn't it? The way KSI has now been brought in, and it brings a whole new different audience, and a whole new younger different audience as well, which obviously more and more people will hopefully, fingers crossed, go and support the local team. And obviously there'll be more eyes on non-league football, which is amazing. I just find it absolutely mind-blowing still, though. I really, really do.
But following with that as well, is there any standouts for you over the weekend?
Oh, I'm going to go with I've got to stick with Hemel Hempstead, to be honest. And I think they're third in the league now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I just feel like we talk about them a lot on here. We all obviously respect the things Lee Allinson's doing. It comes across a really, really good guy, and he's just brilliant as well at what he's doing. And to get Hemel to, I'm pretty sure they're third in the league. I am going to double.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Could be second.
2 clean sheets in a row. Yeah.
I just think that is some doing, to be honest, because you look at the quality in this league, in National League South, and for him to be doing the job that he's doing. I know at the start of the season, we were all really, really impressed by the recruitment as well. Early recruitment, may I add, which obviously very, very good. And I feel like they're a really consistent team, but they're very hard to beat as well, Hemel Hempstead. And I feel like he's done such a fantastic job there. So yeah, that one's my obviously standout, but for reasons that I'm a very big fan of Hemel and Lee Allinson.
5 wins in a row, 2 clean sheets in a row now for Hemel as well. Like, flying.
Yeah, and I think the biggest credit you can give is the fact that, again, a bit like we were talking about with Murphy losing Ricardo Reis, they lost, Hemel lost Miller Matthews-Lewis, who, is an absolute nightmare of players. I mean, because if it weren't for him, Hemel wouldn't have got 4 points against us this season. So, that's your big players show up. And obviously, since he's left, could have been so easy for them to drop out this top 7. I thought they would drop out the top 7, to be honest, I've got to admit. But look, it just shows that it is a team game for them. And Lee Allison's obviously galvanised, that squad, and kept them on task. And look, they are in a very good place where, look, if they win their game in hand, they go into second place. And you might even say they've still got an outside chance of the title as well, which is crazy to say. Because again, look, they're not one of the big clubs in this division. They're not one of the big, big hitters. And they're one of those that maybe want to have a little push for a playoffs, every so often, because they have been up there a couple of times, but most of the time they've been a very established club in this level, I think, for a decade. So, but if they were to get promoted to the National League, for the for a town like Hemel Hempstead, it'd be a huge achievement for them. There'd be a lot they would need to do around the ground to get it up to the National League standards. But I think if you're a Hemel fan, you should be enjoying the ride, especially while it lasts, especially getting wins against the likes of Hornchurch, who've strengthened with bringing in George Alexander as well from Eastbourne. I mean, it's worth mentioning on Eastbourne with Hammer hitting 5-2 defeat to Chippenham Town. They're 9 points off safety. They've got 6 games to go. Are we thinking they're as good as gone now? From the National South.
I think so.
I think we're very close to mathematically kind of putting the nail in the coffin of what's been a nightmare season for them with the managerial changes and everything that they've thrown at it this year, because they got Tommy Widrington in. I am thinking of the right club, aren't I? Yeah, got in Widrington, and they just couldn't stop signing players from what I remember. And we kept thinking, at what point is this club going to stop throwing money at it and just coach the players they've got? I know Joe said it a few times of how many players can you sign to improve them. And I think we're just very, very close to mathematically putting that nail in that coffin. And kind of them looking to kind of regroup and fall back into the National League, the 7th tier, and seeing if they can return back to the National League South first time of asking next season.
I mean, I've just looked at their fixture list, and look, 9 points. They're going to at least need, obviously, for goal difference wise. So looking at their fixtures, they've got to beat Bath, Tunbridge, and Tottenham all at home. Because away from home, they've got to play Worthing, Hemel Hempstead, and Chelmsford, and you have a feeling they're going to need to at least win at least one of them, if not 2 of them. So I think it's too much of an ask now for them. And look, they probably brought in Steve King, I think, on the basis of the fact that maybe they were looking at rebuilding for next season, because obviously, look, we have spoke about him. I mean, I've got my personal opinions in which I will keep to myself on him. But look, I think as Rob said before, I think last week or the week before, he has got a record of getting teams into playoffs and getting into, good situations. But the problem with him, and it's a bit like Adam Hinchelwood, is not finishing the job. And, and that's probably going to ultimately what might hold him back. But, look, this has been an absolute disaster of a season for Eastbourne. I mean, you have got to feel for their fans, because, look, they really brought into the projects, that they were trying to, get. They wanted to get into the National League, and pushing towards the Football League. But it just shows you can't just throw money at it and expect to get results. It just doesn't work like that. Look at the likes of Hemel Hempstead. I mean, they probably don't pay players bad money, but in comparison to your Chelmsfords, Dorking Wanderers, like, they must be much lower. So for a club like Eastbourne to go down with the players that they've got and some of the money that they're probably on, it's an absolute joke. Bit like we look at like Tottenham really in the Premier League a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
They want to think they're too big to go down, but look, they're not, because look, they're in that situation. It's a fair game at the end of the day, and like they haven't been good enough. But I tell you what, from a Chippenham perspective on that result, and we've spoken about Gary Horgan, the job he's done, the fact that Chippenham have stuck with him, what a massive morale boost that is for the club. And I just get that feeling that they are going to get out of the situation. I just have that feeling about them that they're still not expected. I think everyone will still look at them and think they're going to go down. They're not going to have enough. I think they're just about going to scrape it. What do we reckon?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. They were ones I were looking at when I were doing my graphics as well and looking at the table. And I thought, do you know what? Not that long ago, we were talking about them and we were a bit like, oh, we were really worried for them, weren't we? But they seem to be really picking up now. And yeah, I'm the same as you, Ben. If anybody is going to get out of it, I agree. Chippenham for me.
I mean, this week, I don't want to say it's been a wasted week, but they really needed that win. Because when you look at the teams around them, Farnborough are 2 points ahead of them and the place above them. Farnborough win 2-0 against Slough, who are pretty much safe now. The 12 points clear of safety, Slough themselves. Salisbury win 2-0 against an Enfield team, who are as good as gone because they're 8 points from safety. They do have the games now. They've only played 38 this year, but Enfield are looking pretty close to gone. So with Farnborough and Salisbury both winning, and Salisbury beat Bath, who, again, in that relegation scrap with them, you look at it and Chippenham really need that win when the other teams around them are winning as well. On Bath, I think they've got games in hand. They've played 3 less than Chippenham. They're 5 points behind them. They're 7 points from safety. Like, Bath could do it, but what's that? The last win was the 24th of January. It's April next week. Like, it's just not what you need. Like, if you're playing well, you want games to come thick and fast, but when you can't buy a win like Bath can't at the moment, you don't want these games to be coming thick and fast. Enfield, again, haven't won since the 21st of February. They're on a really bad run with the games in hand. So kind of they needed Chippenham needed that win because the other teams around them either have won or are basically dead. So it's that relegation scrap between Chippenham, Farnborough, Salisbury is getting very, very close. I think it's between Chippenham and Farnborough now. There's 2 points between them. Farnborough have the game in hand. But it's going to come down to the last day or two, or last 2 weeks, I think.
Well, as I say, I think Chris has just mentioned as well in the chat, and we was going to touch on it as well. The Bath have sacked Darren Way. They have made that decision not long after they put a statement out saying that they were going to find additional funds, to make sure they could get out of this situation. And obviously, it's not paying off for them. Obviously, the board have made that decision based on disappointing performances, which have left the club in a relegation battle. And you can't complain about it. I think the job he'd originally done when he came in last year, in place of Jerry Gill, they were in a bad place. And the problem I think for Bath has been, and it has been for the last couple of seasons, is they just don't score goals. I mean, defensively, they're actually not too bad. I mean, 57 goals. Yeah. I think it's like, he's definitely right on that one. Like, but for a team that's third from bottom, 57 goals isn't a lot. When you think they've played 37 games, but they've scored 36 goals in 37 games. And I remember when they came to us earlier in the season, Maidstone, they just didn't look threatening at all. And I was just like, they just look very toothless up front. They have made the decision to recall as well Scott Wilson from Western-super-Mare, who was on loan there. Very experienced striker, been and done it at a higher level. And they are sort of going to have to rely on him a little bit to get him out of this situation if Big are going to score some goals. But I think maybe we sort of agreement really that maybe it's a little bit too late for them. I mean, like I said, they have got games in hand, but they are 7 points off, and you're going to need a big drastic turnaround the last 9 games to get out of it. What do we reckon? Do we think they're gone as well?
Yeah, I think that was good as gone.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just like, I think it's hard for, because like, again, they're a club that are very well established, again, had their time in the National League as well. And I think when you go to Twerton Park, I mean, obviously I've been to Twerton Park a few times, and it's one of those grounds, where you think this has got potential like to be much higher. It's a lovely old ground. It's got a lot of character, very good people as well, Bath, by the way. So I've got a lot of time for them. So I would be really disappointed to see them go down. But I just feel like the change has come a little bit too late, to be honest. So, but we wait and see. They put James Moon now in interim charge, and he's got his first game. I think it'll be tomorrow against Hemel Hempstead. So It's a big task for him, I'm sure. But the best way to get a new manager bounce is beating the team that's third in the league. So let's see if they Paul comes off or not.
Just want to go to the chat.
You can go to the chat if you would like to, Shah. Go for it.
I'll quickly go to the chat. We do have a few comments. So obviously Chris has mentioned Maidenhead to Dorking 0. That's a big standout for him.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Luke. He's absolutely fuming. I did say, Luke, there's not many draws across non-league this weekend. More importantly, no 0-0s. There's no draws at all in this week's National League South, is there? Danny's pointed it out. No draws. I'm going to leave that comment for after because got Yorkshire drummer mentioning Ollie Watmuff, which we will talk about after. Western didn't have a mare, but Ebbsfleet did. That's what Chris has put. Then we do have a match report as well. Yeah.
I think Ebbsfleet had a bit of a weird one because they are in the playoffs, but I see some of their fans sometimes on Twitter and it's like, I don't know what. Everything I see from them seems quite negative, but then you look at their results and they're actually in a decent place. 3-1 loss to Dorking a couple of weeks ago, 3-1 loss to Western this weekend, but beat Maidenhead recently. And I mean, they're 6th and you don't get 6th for no reason in this league. But anyway, carry on, Shah.
Chris has put as well, Farnborough have Chelmsford on Wednesday night. And then we do have a match report, obviously, from Steve. So the Slough game away at Farnborough. Oh, I'm getting deja vu every week. It's the same stuff. Started all right, first 10 minutes, well on top, concede an early goal and kick off like we've never played together before. Second half, we came out and looked like a Sunday League side that's been on the lash for a week. Shocking performance all around and deserved to be beaten by more. We aren't picking up another point this year, he has put. And he's also mentioned big win for Chippenham. Didn't even know they were capable of scoring 5 goals in 5 games, let alone 90 minutes. And then we have North Standard in the chat. Could say the same about Horsham. Started well, but have drifted away. Should be safe from the drop. So that's all of the chat covered.
Yeah, it is. I'll briefly touch on our game as well at Cheshire United. I keep changing my mind week in, week out if we're going to make the playoffs. And I think on this time now, I am going to say we're not going to make the playoffs. I think the squad are out on their knees now. Look, that's not taking it away from Cheshire. They should have won the game by more, personally. I think that's what George said after it. We got Kai Yearned. That's all I can say. He scored all 4 goals for Cheshire, and an absolute menace, to be honest. And it was a frustrating watch because I say, look, we just never got going, and I think just players just looked a bit stiff, looked a little bit laggy, and leggy, sorry. And I don't know. I think, look, we've got a bench of 7 players, and about 5-6 of them are youngsters. And look, we've got we've had to call in 2 or 3 lads from the academy. We've had to call in a lad from the under-23s because we just haven't got any options. Because look, the manager's been told I don't think he's going to get any more money now to help the team out. And and I feel so sorry for George. I really do. Because I look at everyone around us, and pretty much every team around us have strengthened this week. You think Hornchurch are going out buying Graham forget what's his name now, George Alexander, and we're not allowed to get anyone in. And it's like, what I don't understand what the management team are supposed to do. And I feel, I do really feel for them because they've been given a squad this year. They've had to rebuild again. They've signed God knows how many new players. They've had to all bed in. And, look, we still had something to play for. If we were around mid-table and, and everything, and I would have accepted that. Yeah, okay, look, don't put any more money into it. Look, just give a few of the younger lads a chance. And see what we can do for next season. But we're still fighting for something. And, I think, 1 or 2 players just to help out. The only player we could really call upon Saturday was Christy Patterson, which, again, I was pleased with because he got his first goal since his return to the club, which was a mere consolation with a couple of minutes to go. But, look, Cheshire were very well valuable for their 3 points. And I was speaking to their media guy before, and I thought, whoever loses this game, I think they can say bye-bye to their playoff dreams. But I think Cheshire are just about clinging on to them. Still with a game in hand over a few teams. And that they are a very good side, actually, I have to say. You know, they know how to play their pitch really well. Obviously, it's not the best surface in the league, but they you know, get about. They work very hard for each other. I mean, Michael Murray and James Duncan have done, you know, an unbelievable job, because obviously I said start seeing they'll be in the bottom 4, but they could still be in the top 7. You know, and if the season finishes then now, they would say it's an excellent season. You know, and again, they progress as well from last season, but. Yeah, I'm really disappointed, and I feel for the team, to be honest. And that's the thing. Wouldn't normally clap them off after they've conceded 4 goals, you know, in the way they did against Cheshire. But I clap those players up at full time, because they did try their best. And you know, look, they're just running out of energy. You know, in 6 games to go, it's going to be a big ask. We need to win at 5 of them, if not all 6 of them, to make the playoffs. Not going to happen. So I think what we got to do is just try and give a few of the younger lads a chance, and start preparing for next season already, and start getting some of these players tied down on contracts, really, if we can, because there are a few that I do want to keep, but there are some, you know, improvements that need to be made. And you know, hopefully, whatever happens over the summer, whether we do get new ownership or whatever, or if, you know, if George is still here. You know, it remains to be seen, to be honest. So we'll have to wait and see. I have seen Joe's put a comment as well in the chat, who makes them playing like a team that don't want to go up. It would be a disaster if they went up, given the financial position. They're better off, I feel, staying down and invest in the summer. Totally agree. Yeah, that's the only way I can see, you know, that's the moment, because I think I've said to you, Joe, until we get new ownership, we're not going anywhere. We're staying in this division, and you know, you like it for a couple of seasons, but it's going to be our 4th season in this division, and you get bored of it. And I want to be going back to some of the, you know, the big clubs in the National League. You know, big away days out. I feel like that's the way the club belong, in my opinion. It might be the big headed for saying that, but we are one of the bigger clubs in this division. So yeah, I'm gutted, but look, you know, it is what it is, and we're just going to have to try and find a way of these last 6 games of trying to finish the season on the high if we can, get to the 70-point mark if possible, and see where we go from there. Any other results that anyone wants to touch on tomorrow? Oh, sorry, don't touch on them from the weekend. Sorry.
Oh no, don't worry.
I think we've mentioned a lot of it, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot of it, haven't we?
Yeah, I think the only one as well. I know we saw a comment in there, but I've got a good credit as well to Western-super-Mare. Big win over Ebbsfleet. Come back behind, big second half turnaround as well for them, because for a long time it was 1-0. Charlie Seaman getting the goal, and then you know, Western decided to turn up in the second half and have again galvanised their chances of the top 7 finish. Because for a minute it did seem like it was slowly starting to go down for them, but they've given themselves a real fighting chance now. And I think, as Joe's saying, they really are clinging on now to that last playoff spot now, Torquay, because, you know, Western, you know, win tomorrow could put them, you know, back in that top 7, depending on how Torquay get on against Dorking. So, you know, Western have got Worthing, which again is going to be another tough one. But yeah, look, I think they are one of the better footballing sides in this division, I find, Western. And yeah, look, they do make top 7, fair play to them. But Ebbsfleet as well, that's another damaging result for them, because they're just about limping their way into the playoffs, and some teams are still going to catch up on them. So it's far from over in that race at the moment. So, but yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I think
table.
To be honest. Yeah, table. So I can go through that for you, Shah. So at the top of the table still, we've got Torquay. We've still got Dorking Wanderers on 74 points at the top of the league. Worthing second with 68 points. Hemel Hempstead third with 67 points. Hornchurch are sitting fourth with 66 points. Maidenhead fifth with 65 points, as are Ebbsfleet in sixth, and Torquay United holding on to that last playoff spot in 64 points. And in the bottom 4, we have Chippenham Town in 21st on 38 points, Bath City sitting on 33 points, Enfield Town on 32 points, and Eastbourne Borough, bottom of the National South, on 31 points. We can now move on. Oh, of course.
Just quickly before we move on, he's put, fully expect Torquay will fall out of the playoffs. Players giving their all, but it's what we deserve for pressing the self-destruct button. Bigger teams, better finance to challenge.
Yeah, agree with that. It's all right. Let's get to play more again next season, Joe.
I know.
I'm looking forward to
it. We will go to the National League now. So before we talk, obviously, about Rochdale and York, we will talk about the other games. Yet again, no draws whatsoever. I did tell you, Luke, you will be disappointed. No 0-0s, but make sure you do get your match report at the ready. Morgan, I'm going to come to you first. So before we talk about our teams, any games on here that you do want to give a mention to?
Yeah, Solihull, Halifax.
Yes.
Which is a bit of a weird one because Solihull are now 9 without a win, but they're still 7 points above the drop. So obviously they've had their managerial issues in recent years. Matty Taylor was an awful appointment. Chris Millington's gone in there. He completely steadied the ship and he got them into a really good spot. I know when they came to us back in October, they had an interim in charge. They beat us 1-0 with a fantastic counter-attacking performance. And you're thinking kind of, where do they go from here? Chris Millington's I don't say one of the best managers in this league, but he's a very, very solid manager, and you know what you're getting out of Chris Millington team. He did really good as Halifax manager on small budgets. So for him to go to Solihull, he kind of dragged them to safety. So they can now go 9 games without a win, and they're still 7 points above the drop. Halifax are 5 unbeaten, up into the playoffs now. Obviously, I know Southend have their games in hand. They've had pitch issues. They've got the FA Trophy to worry about. So kind of that last playoff spot I think it is going to go quite late in the season. I don't think it's an easy one to call between Halifax and Southend, because we know Southend have the quality. They've got Andrew Dallas, they've got Gus Scott Morris, but they've never really been able to fully piece it together under Kevin Mayer. I know last year they got to the playoff final, but it didn't really feel like they were getting there. When you look at the other teams around them, Oldham felt like they had a bit of a better team. York and Forest Green were second, third. Barnet ran away with the league. And Kevin Mayer did a great job kind of post-ownership struggles, and he got them through that. But you'd think they'd do a little bit better than now competing with a Halifax team on the edge of the playoffs. Do want to give a quick shout out to Will Harris, though. Chris will love this because former Spennymoor player. He's just hit 20 league goals for the first time in his career. I know he's had loans out different places.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, as he says it, Will Harris, 20 league goals now, and according to FOTMob, that's the first time he's done it in his career. So I think that's a really good season from him.
No, I completely agree with that. What a player. What a player. Ben, I'm going to come to you. Any on here you want to give a mention to?
I'm starting to realise now why all the NL full-time guys on. They all lost, didn't they, this week?
I know.
Now it all makes sense.
Aldershot in the derby. Boston got hammered badly.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think you have got to touch on the derby game. Was Woking 3, Aldershot 2, and getting another great result for Craig Ross. Again doing the job that's been asked of him to make sure that Woking are competing and obviously securing their status in the division for another year. Obviously, the players are still a bit too far out of hand for them. 10 points off. Even though I got a couple of games in hand, but so have Southend. But look, great win for them. Obviously against bitter rivals. And Aldershot have just fallen down a bit slightly as well, haven't they? It's been a very up and down season for them, haven't it? Where they were near the bottom of the table at the start. No one gave them a hope. And I think even Rob, to be fair, wasn't getting too carried away with being sort of 11th, 10th in the league. And then all of a sudden they've slipped right back down again. And they are still sort of in that battle at the moment. I mean, they're 5 points off relegation, albeit it's still pretty much in their control. You do just get the feeling that maybe, a couple more defeats and they really are starting to look over their shoulders again now. I mean, as obviously the likes of Eastleigh and Brackley are. But that's been a damaging result, obviously, for not just the players, but the fans as well, because, they put a lot of heart and effort into going to Woking away, expecting a result. I know they've had some good memories there over the years. But obviously just came up a little bit short this time. But got to give Craig Ross credit. That he's been given a tough task, obviously having to replace, a really experienced manager in Neil Ardley, who maybe didn't get the tune out of the players he probably wanted at certain points of the season. But sometimes hearing from an actual player actually makes a big difference. We've seen with Wildstone, it happened with Sam Cox when he first went in there. I've always been a big advocate, to be fair, of player managers. I mean, obviously Steve will know from about obviously Scotty Davis with Slough. Maidstone happened for a good long time with Jay Saunders in charge. I think I'm a big fan of player managers personally, because they read the game differently. And actually, when you're out there as well, I know he's obviously not a regular in the team. He still gets to see what goes on, and he's sort of one of the lads. So they've got that trust already in him, and that's probably why they probably think they want to play for him to make sure he maybe gets the job on a permanent basis. Who knows? But what that's probably his probably his best win so far since taking interim charge of the Cards.
I think with the Aldershot one, they've hit a really weird patch of fixtures because they've basically just had to run through the entire playoffs and their biggest rivals. They're on really good form, and then they just hit this run of horrible fixtures, and it's just fallen apart. They were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 unbeaten. They got 6 wins out of those 7. Like Aldershot were looking really good. And then they played Rochdale, Forest Green, Carlisle, York, and then the biggest rivals in Woking before going to Boreham Wood on Tuesday night. And then after that, their fixtures swing again. So they've gone through really good, then really rough bit of form. And then once they get past Tuesday night, they play Morecambe, Sutton, Wealdstone, Gateshead, Southend, Brackley, and Truro. Everyone I've just mentioned except Southend's in the bottom half. So Aldershot have had the highs of we're probably safe because of this really good run of form to then how hard can our fixtures get to then we should be fine again. So I don't really have any worries about Aldershot. I know Woking, obviously, really good win for them. But when you look at the other side of that, John Coleman kind of turned it around. They were 23rd back in November, I think. They fell to Aldershot. It was looking really rough for them. And then they steered themselves safe and hit this horrible run of fixtures where they've lost 5 in a row, scoring 3 goals in 5 games, if I can do my maths correctly. And it's looking really bad. But when you put some context on it, they've just had a horrible run of fixtures against all teams that are going to be up for it against them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just going to quickly go to the chat because we do have a lot of chat before I mention one of my standouts. So Chris has mentioned, obviously, Brackley doing a Charlie first season in the National League and might come straight back down. Then we've got match reports from the Yeovil Morecambe game. So I'm going to read out Joe's first. So report Yeovil 3, Morecambe 2. The scoreline flatters Morecambe. Yeovil best throughout the 90. Daly, McGavin and Jones superb. McCoy Splat inspired off the bench. Big win when it matters. And he has also put, bear with me. Morecambe poor by Nolan, a lot of huffing and puffing, lacked quality and control, looked better once Aziz came on. Bentley got a right job on his hands to keep them up. That's surprising as well, to be fair, because when I've seen Morecambe recently, they have been playing very, very well, haven't they? But yeah, that was from Joe. And we do have in the chat from Mr. Yeovil himself. Morecambe at home, the perfect match day, us winning, everyone else losing around us. Morecambe looked very uninspiring, kept pumping the ball up, and we won possession 98% of the time. Bear with me. Where's it gone? We had Prabhu in the stands. It was amazing. Everyone on fire. Midfield insane. The splat cooking up a start. I love that. The splat. It really makes me laugh. Cooking up a storm with Sims on the right. Ryan Jones with an insane strike at the near post. Should have been more. Never a 3-2 game. Dominated them. Morecambe don't look like a team. They look like 11 strangers who just so happen to share a pitch together. Survival is inevitable now. What are we thinking from the Morecambe perspective? Because I know it changes a lot with us, doesn't it, on this podcast? We put up some good fight, we get some results, but then we do happen to have a lot of underwhelming ones. And I feel like the more underwhelming results are against the teams they should be trying to get points from in and around them. What are we thinking with Morecambe? Do we think it's going to happen? Do you think they've still got time to turn it around? Or are they preparing now for life in National League North?
I think, to be honest, for me, I think I'm just looking at their fixtures. That's going to be a big ask for them. They've got to play a lot of the teams that are in around the playoff area. I mean, you've got Rochdale going for the title, Carlisle in the playoffs, Boreham Wood in the playoffs, Forest Green in the playoffs, and not something including Hartlepool as well tomorrow. So, also on Wednesday. I just think that, again, I think we said it before. I think Balkan just left it a little bit too late to make that change, as manager. But I mean, that's the thing. It's not taking anything away from Jim Bentley, who I say was given at least some hope, which I think Jen would have probably said a couple of months ago they probably didn't have at all. And they have picked up some great results, on the road. And again, I think they probably look at that penalty or the goal they conceded against Braintree late on in the game last week, and that was probably a big killer blow because that was a must-win game for them. They've still got, let's say, 4 home games to go, and when the fans get behind that team at Morecambe, then anything's possible there because the full well that they know everything's against them now, and they will have to fight their way, to the top again. But you never say never with them, but I think you're looking across the whole season. I think that's going to be a huge ask for them. But Jim Bentley is if he's anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him, isn't it? You give him or Ash to try and get him out of this. You're always going to pick Jim Bentley every day of the week. So that would probably be my one. But it's too tough to call for me at the moment. I think I'd know more maybe after having a go on in the next couple of games against Hartlepool and Aldershot. I'll see where we are then.
I think I don't want to be too down, but I think they're gone. Like, they don't show up often enough. They've got, as Joe just said, they have too many players that are a bit too pedestrian. The game just passes them by. Jack Nolan's absolutely fantastic, but
it's brilliant.
You can't stay up with just Jack Nolan. And I think there's one place in the National League left. I think Eastleigh are basically safe because they're 5 points clear. So Morecambe 9. Can I do maths? 8 points behind Eastleigh, but they're only 3 points off Brackley. So when you look at that, it's between Morecambe, Gateshead and Brackley for one spot. And I think Morecambe could get to 21st, but I don't think they can claw themselves all the way out of this. They've got this really tough run of fixtures. And yes, they've been on okay form recently. They beat Wealdstone away. They beat Sutton away. They played pretty well against Braintree until they conceded late on due to a goalkeeper getting an assist. But then this Yeovil game, 3-2, is a flattering scoreline for them. So I just don't think they can put it together often enough. They played really well against us, and they lose 1-0 to us. They just don't seem to be able to put it together enough. They conceded 4 against a Gateshead team that had nothing going for them. You look at it, and even under Ashvir Singh, they were conceding, or like every week felt very robotic of they've lost again after playing some okay stuff at times. They've just left it too late, and when you look at their running, it's just, where do they pick up points?
Probably against us. Wouldn't surprise me.
The Aldershot game is must win, and I think it's almost must win. It's not quite must win for Aldershot, but they've got Aldershot at home, they've got Woking away, and they're the two you're targeting. Otherwise, it's a Hartlepool team that are pretty good this year, Rochdale, who are going for the title, Carlisle, who are likely to finish 3rd, Boreham Wood, who are going to finish in the playoffs, and Forest Green, that are going to finish in the playoffs. They'd have to cause some very unlikely upset or hope that Gateshead, Eastleigh, Brackley don't win any more games, pretty much. They have so much work to do, and they're not consistent enough to do it, I don't think. I just don't see it, unfortunately.
Do you know what, as well? It genuinely wouldn't surprise me if they picked points up against us, because they were so unlucky over Christmas when they played us, because they were actually the better team. Genuinely, they were actually the better team, Morecambe. But yeah, it's really, really sad to obviously say there's still time. As we mentioned, it is still pretty close, but I feel like, and I know we keep saying it week in, week out, we should have made the change a lot earlier for them to see what would have happened. But Jim Bentley is a class act. I know Joe has mentioned it as well. The stuff he's done, obviously, for Morecambe throughout the years, what he's doing now, I just think he's doing a fantastic job, and the right man is definitely in charge, and he's just giving them some hope, regardless of what happens now. The hope that he's giving them, the fact that he's bringing fans together as well, the ones that obviously they were divided at one point. Then I thought, then with Ash, they all came together again because they didn't want Ash obviously in the job, and they were getting frustrated with him. And as you mentioned, I think it was last week, Morgan, it became a point with Morecambe where having him as manager, they were becoming a laughing stock to just football fans in general. It was the same repetitiveness, wasn't it, week in, week out with his interviews and stuff. And then you're getting someone like Jim Bentley, who's just so passionate about it, who knows the club from top to bottom. He genuinely cares. And these players, I know obviously in the chat, we've had Joe say it. We've had obviously our Yeovil friend say it as well. They didn't look good the other day, but when I've seen them perform, they have looked pretty decent. They have been fighting for it. Maybe it's a little bit of tiredness at the moment from them. I do not know. But yeah, we will see what happens. I don't think it's fully over yet, but obviously it's not looking great at the moment, isn't it? Especially considering the points they do need to pick up against the teams in and around them. That's when they are struggling, Markham. But I am going to say my standout. Oh, sorry. At least, yeah, Markham have the transfer embargo lifted. And we have as well Markham are at Forest Green Rovers on the last day of the season. Sod's law, they will beat us, but it won't keep them up. Who knows what will happen? This is my standout. Obviously, we can't look away from this result. Boston did have a man sent off, though. They did have a man sent off, but I know we've spoke about Carlisle a lot on here. We've spoke about, obviously, Mark Hughes as well. Very good performance, obviously, from Carlisle, regardless of having a man sent off for Boston. Sometimes I feel like it can be harder playing against 10 men at times. But yeah, Carlisle really did shine that game. Luke Armstrong obviously scoring. I think Regan Linney as well. Was he on the score sheet for them? Yes, a penalty for them. There was an own goal. Obviously, Boston did score for Carlisle. And then we had Boy who scored. And then is it Mugabe scored as well? But Regan Linney also getting some assists and scoring. It's nice to see him obviously back on the score sheet because I know he has been struggling, hasn't he, recently for goal contributions. But yes, he has been hitting a little bit of form again. But I'm going to go on to Luke's match report. So Wealdstone at home, absolutely massive win for us. That makes more ground on us for survival, the worst goal possible, but we'll take it any day of the week. He sent the same again. And then he's also put, got York at home, end me, and we have Yeovil at home on Saturday. More interested in the Saturday game. You never know. You never know. I'm counting on you. You're my only hope right now. Because I genuinely think we will drop points midweek, if I'm being quite honest.
Fingers crossed.
I really, really do. Morgan, do you want me to kick you off now? Can you say bye now?
I was about to start talking about Boston rather than York, but here we are.
You talk about them.
I just saw some of Christian's tweets over the weekend and I thought, you know what, this is a bit of a weird result. And some of the stuff that Christian's been tweeting, shout out NL full time, is actually quite interesting because under Paul Hurst, 50% wins in the league, scored 23 but conceded 21 in 12 games, or 13 games, which is an interesting split. We've gone 1-0 down inside the first 20 minutes in 6 of his 13 games, which is in all competitions, which is an interesting way of doing things. Not great when you go 1-0 down so frequently, but there was a few things he was saying about how often they'd conceded 6. I'll see if I can find it. They've not recorded a worse second half since 1964 when they conceded 6 in the second half against Gould, where they lost the second half 5-0 this weekend, obviously with that red card and everything being 2-1 at half time. So yeah, 5-0 second half, worst thing they've done since 1964, which I think is quite impressive. And it's the first time they've ever conceded a penalty, an own goal, and had a red card in a league game ever. So fair enough, Boston. You've done it in a weird way. You're probably safe, so you can get a bit funky at this time of the season.
I'm so sorry. I'm just looking for Luke's Boreham Wood match report. I cannot find it anywhere. He said he sent it me, but I cannot find it anywhere. I've got the Wealdstone one twice. It's really long.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it as well. Oh yeah, it's always a long one, isn't it, Sean?
It's always the long one. I've got Wealdstone twice, Luke, but I can't find Boreham Wood.
Yeah,
can you just copy and paste it, please?
Are you sure you've sent it, Luke?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it as well because I can star it as well, but I can't. I can't find it. Are you having his own, Luke, or something?
I know, Luke. Oh, Chris, come on. But you didn't post it, Luke. Thank you.
Oh,
finally, everyone's defending me and sticking up for me.
Yeah, get back in your box, Luke. Get back in your box.
Yes, Luke. We'll let you off. My bad, I didn't. You had me scrolling all the way up to the top, yo. Boreham Wood away. The better team won on the day. We weren't at it all. Not surprised with the amount of games we've had. Was expected, but we move. And then, obviously, Sam, our absolute football podcast man, the legend, that is Sam. Yes, team, what a group of superstars. Hashtag Hendo is the GOAT. What a guy. Andy made the thumbnail. Just want to point out as well, everyone, I do not make the thumbnails. It's Sam who makes the thumbnails, and this guy knows who the GOAT is. He loves it.
Also, while we're on Gateshead, Callum Johnson made the decision to retire today at only 29. Saw that was obviously very young age to retire. Played 11 times for Gateshead. Played over 300 times in the Football League, National League, and Scotland since 2017. But in his announcement, he said he's had 14 muscle injuries in 2.5 years, which is just his body just unfortunately couldn't keep up with playing professional football. So I hope he's got something kind of figured out, because we all know, like, when you retire from National League football, you're not exactly you're not on Premier League wages, and you can't just retire into the sun. So I hope he's able to get something sorted and kind of live a decent life kind of after losing his dream of playing football for as long as he would have wanted to.
Luke's pointed it out as well. Shame about Callum Johnson. He got too much injuries here and there. All the best to him now. It's so sad, isn't it, when obviously it gets taken out of your own hands, and obviously you have to listen to your body at the end of the day. And yeah, just all the best to him, because it's never nice having to see a player retire due to injuries. Like, you want every single player to have a really fantastic career, don't you? But it's so sad when this happens. But then at the same time, as I mentioned, you do have to listen to your body, and you kind of know when the time is right, don't you? But yeah, it's such sad news, especially someone so young too. Such a shame. Ben, I am going to come to you. Is there any other standouts on here that you want to mention? Obviously, apart from Dale winning. I know you love Hendo too.
It's about York City personally, but no, I'm joking.
Whoa. You know
I'm
what your friends are.
I was actually going to give a bit of credit to Paul Truro at the bottom. They've had a tough season at this level, and relegation will probably be inevitable for them. But I don't know what's happened to Sutton though, because particularly in the last couple of games at home, being done 5-0 by Morecambe in their last home game before that, and now 3-0 at home to Truro. 8 goals in the last 2 at home. Not the best, best way to start finishing the season. It's particularly the fact that they're still not quite safe just yet. They're still only 6 points above that drop zone. But look, Truro, what I will say is they have given it absolutely everything this season, given the resources, given the where they're based in the country. We all said it was going to be I think it was going to be a step too much for them, and no one expected them to be here. And I think even John Askey would say that. But look, they Truro obviously been smart about it. They haven't gone, well, look, we have to do everything we can to stay in the division, because they know they're punching well above their weight by being here. And, look, they've competed. They've obviously 28 points might not sound a lot, after 39 games. But, given what they've got, I think they can hold their heads high, if that was their last win. But look, at least going down without a fight, they could have easily just said, well, look, let's start looking at players, younger players for next season, maybe. But, look, 7 games to go, mathematically, they could still finish in the top half of the table. So, it really does change. But I think it is going to be far too much for them to make up for it. But look, they're going to enjoy, days like that, going to Sutton, winning 3-0. They've probably had some good days out, on the road this season, regardless of results. But their fans, I'm sure, would have been absolutely delighted with the long journey back after that one.
Hypothetical question. What would it take for someone from Truro or that part of the country to, actually be able to survive in the National League? Because their closest game is Yeovil, which is 2 hours away, right? What does it actually take? Because it would take such a toll on your body in doing those long journeys. Do you need some super wealthy owner that can pay for constant overnight stays? Because it must be killer some of the nights they're getting back, or some of the some of the super early starts. Is it possible to be a club that far away from kind of the rest of the league and actually survive?
Yeah,
or is it just too far? Are we ever going to see a team actually be able to do a full season and survive in the National League?
But there's the thing, we always say that about Carlisle, though, don't we? For a number of years.
Carlisle's a bit closer, though, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, like I said, they've got more clubs, I guess, around them, haven't they? But they've still got, got to go down to the likes of, even back in the day when you're probably going down to the likes of, Portsmouth and Southamptons and everything. I mean, like, it does take a lot, but I get you. I don't take your point completely because, look, they haven't got many close games about. And I think it's not just obviously the overnight stays. I think they should be really taking, flights to games because they're just so far away from everywhere. And, again, they have got a business model there, obviously in terms of the fact the last couple of years they brought in, I think it's a Canadian owner, I think they've got there. So obviously they've built, the new ground, obviously for, the community, which again is a nice little setup they've got there. Obviously there's so much room for development. And, look, I think in their dream probably was to maybe have a go at this level. And I think they'll take a lot of lessons from it, that's for sure, that, look, they know they're way far off in comparison to, the Yorks and Rochdales of this league. They've got a lot of work to do, but I think having learned from this experience, they know what they need to do better. And I think you're right. I think overnight stays obviously is a big thing, and it just boils down to finances. If you've got the finances to do it, they'd easily stay in this league. But given where they are in the country, they don't get the biggest support in comparison to a lot of the teams in the league. But I think they've done, great in terms of what they have got at their disposal. But it's only something they've got to look for the future if they want to have a go at this again.
Yeah, definitely.
Just have a look in the chat, see if I've missed anything. Morgan, is there any more you want to give a mention to?
Hartlepool, I feel like we've just kind of glossed over them. They're only 5 points outside the playoffs. They do have a game in hand over Halifax. They've played a game more than Southend. They're having a really weird season. +4 goal difference, 44 goals scored, 40 against. Like, their defense has been the thing that's kind of held them together this year. Back-to-back 1-0 wins at home to Eastleigh and away to Truro. So they've not conceded in the last 180 minutes. But even before that, they lost 1-0 at home to Halifax on the 7th of March. All their games seem really low scoring. They seem to be in a better place compared to where they have been in the last few years. There does seem to be a bit more kind of optimism around Hartlepool. Obviously, they had the ownership change, and Nicky Featherstone as manager obviously knows that club like the back of his hand. So I think Hartlepool are in an all right position if he can kind of take the lessons from the kind of half season he's been in charge after he replaced Simon Grayson of kind of what builds a good defence and kind of where they can go from here. Hartlepool could be a playoff team next year. I don't think they'll do it this year. They kind of need to go on a bit of, I don't know, I think they need to do a bit too much to get there. And when they've won 3 and lost 2 of the last 5, it just feels like quite a lot to do when Southend have the game in hand over them, a miles better goal difference. Their goal difference is close enough to Halifax. They could make that up. But if it comes down to it, they might be level on point to Southend by the end of the season and miss out on goal difference because of how close every game has been this year. So, yeah, Hartlepool could have the best defence in the league, but miss out on the playoffs. They've had a really weird season. And when you look at their top scorer, Alex Reid, top scorer, has 9. Like, that feels slightly insane that a top scorer of a team that are just outside the playoffs isn't on double figures yet. So I think Hartlepool deserve a bit of mention for their defensive record, but they're having a weird season. I think over the summer they're going to learn a lot of lessons and see what they can build on next year.
Definitely. Chris has put as well, speaking of Hartlepool, AFC supporters Hartlepool have reached the FA Sunday Cup final.
Congrats to them.
Very well done to them. One game I did want to give a mention to is obviously that Braintree Scunthorpe game, because that seemed like a really crazy game. Braintree obviously did take the lead, and then I think they found themselves 2-1 down. They got the equaliser, Braintree, but then obviously Scunthorpe and the quality that they do have did come back, got that winner. Scunthorpe are a team we are playing, obviously, on Wednesday. I'm not very confident at that game. I'm just going to put that out there now. Not very confident of that game. But Braintree obviously showing a lot of fight down there. It wasn't their day, unfortunately, but I think there's no shame and obviously losing against a very good Scunthorpe team.
It took a lot, last minute penalty as well from Callum Roberts to deny him of a point as well. So, they are still fighting in there, Braintree. And I think it really is hard to call because I feel like the Brackley at this moment in time are going to be the ones to slip into that bottom four personally.
Yeah, same.
Because I just have that, you just get a feeling that, one of potentially Braintree or Morecambe can get out of it personally. But then again, it's not knocking Gateshead as well. I think Gateshead as well being in great form. But, Steve Pitt is beating the odds to keep him up last season. And they still win that chance. Let's say they're not in a position that Truro are in. So, Steve Pitt would have taken probably a lot of confidence from that game because again, it would have been a free hit for them. But they've got to find some form now in these last 7 games to give them a chance. Otherwise, they will be back in National South, and it's not a ground I like going to. So hopefully, they do pull it out of the bag. Personally,
I just wanted to as well give a mention to. Obviously, we've not touched on it really yet, but Altrincham, they're picking up some form at the moment. A very good win for them against Southend. And can I just say as well, for all you Southend fans that came at me on Tuesday, yes, our defence was a shambles in that first half. I'm going to address the game. Yes, you did deserve it in the first half, 100%. We did play better in the second half. Don't get me wrong, but you did deserve it just from the shambles of our defence. But Altrincham, who scored for Altrincham? Liam Humbles, our loanee, but we do have obviously playing for them at the moment. So Southend fans, for all your grief you gave me, you got humbled, literally.
You were waiting for that, weren't you? You set yourself up for that.
I was waiting for that because I honestly, the amount of Southend fans that have been coming for me at the moment, and I thought I was their friend. This time last season, Ben, what was it like with Southend fans? They were coming into the chat. They were like, oh, Shari's one of us. Get her a ticket to Wembley, blah, blah, blah. And now they've turned on me and I don't like it. So, yes, I am going to call it out now. I am going to tell you got humbled. But, yeah, I do hope you make the playoffs because I do like Southend. But right now, I'm just having my moment. I feel like I deserve my moment.
You said Altrincham have picked up form. They've won 5 of the last 7. I don't know where that's come from. Obviously, first half of the season, they were awful. Parted ways with Phil Parkinson, who'd been there for 10 years, I think it was. And we didn't really know where Altrincham were at. I know a couple of years ago, they went professional for the first time. They got the CEO in from Halifax, I think it was, a couple of years ago. And you were thinking they're turning a corner. And then this year, it just kind of fell apart with Phil Parkinson losing his job after a really poor start. But yeah, in the last 7 games, 5 wins, and they're looking really comfortable. You kind of forget they exist at this point. They're very, very safe. They're 14th. They're not going to make playoffs. They're not going to get relegated. They're just going to be here for another year of National League football.
No, I completely agree with that. This comment as well. Don't worry, Danny. I have already addressed on my own channel. If we get Southend in the playoffs, they will beat us. So I will happily clip that before that gets clipped because I have 100% said the one team I do not want in the playoffs is Southend. So I have literally I've addressed that. Do not worry. I do not want them. Do not want them. And Alti will be class on 6th of April. Right. Morgan, do you want to talk about your game?
Yeah, I can do.
Go on then.
Honestly, I didn't think we were particularly good. I said it on Twitter and I got a bit of flack for it. There's been sometimes we've beaten teams 4-5-0. Braintree, Truro, Gateshead, where we've been 3-0 up inside the first half an hour and you've gone, that's game over. That was really easy. I think it was 1-0. No, it was 2-0 half time, ended 4-0. But I don't think any of it was that impressive. It felt like we were quite sloppy in midfield. And to be fair to Brackley, they gave absolutely nothing going forward. We didn't have to try. We didn't have to get out first gear. It's not like we were bad and they made us pay for it. We were just a bit sloppy and we were never under any threat. So it's kind of fine being not great. I didn't think Alex Hunt had a great game. I thought his passing was a bit sloppy. I don't know if any York fans in the chat have any other opinions because I think I'm slightly in the minority with that. Josh Stone's class. Our first goal was really, really well worked. Second goal, it was an underhit back pass, but it was only underhit because Josh Stones chased him down. Third and fourth goal, Ollie Pearce got another one, although Ollie Pearce has been on a bit of a goal scoring drought. I think he's got 3 in his last 10, I think, which for Ollie Pearce is quiet. But yeah, they just didn't trouble us at all. Brackley are really poor, and under Andy Wing, obviously he came in replacing Gavin Cow, and you're thinking, what's going to happen here? Like, are they going to not be as bad as you'd see from this Brackley team? Because Andy Wing's a good National League manager, did really well at Solihull, getting them to Wembley twice in the FA Trophy and in the playoffs. But no, Brackley are really, really poor. And even though I didn't think we were great, we didn't have to be, because yeah, they're really poor, and it was a really, really comfortable afternoon. Was quite happy with our crowd though. There was a bit of atmosphere, compared to the last game where we beat Eastleigh 3-1, and it was one of the flattest atmospheres we've had at the stadium. So it was quite nice. We had, I think, about 6,500 in this weekend, and you could definitely tell the lads who were behind the goal were definitely making an effort with it. So yeah, it was easy Saturday, easy win, move on.
Obviously, I will touch on the Dale game now. So we have been making it very difficult for ourselves as of late. As we've mentioned previously, at the moment, we do still have the best defence in the league. Our defence have been a little bit... They've put a lot of pressure on themselves, and I don't know if the pressure is actually getting to them at the minute, because they're not looking as steady as they have been in recent games. They have been a little bit sloppy, our defence. But first goal came in the 13th minute. Ryan East, I have said about Ryan East several times this season. He is one of them players that completely goes under the radar. He doesn't necessarily get the flowers he deserves, but he's so consistent, Ryan East, honestly, in that midfield role. He did score in the 13th minute. Very, very good goal from him. Manages a Rue assist. He did finally get his flowers as well. Man of the match performance from him. He got in the National League team of the weekend as well. Very, very impressed by Ryan East. He's someone who I have said week in, week out, he's such a good player, and he is the core of that midfield for us. So very good that he did get a goal. But in true Dale fashion, as of late, we make it very hard for ourselves. But no, obviously, I'm not disregarding Tamworth. They did make it very, very difficult. I think Tamworth are a really good side as well, if I'm being quite honest. They always do seem to make it difficult for us when we play against them. Obviously, very good player in Daniel Creaney, scoring an equaliser for them. He did come up to our fans though, which obviously a lot of our fans weren't impressed with, pointed to the back of his shirt. So it did trigger a lot of our fans in the Pearl Street end. But I love a good shithouse celebration, and he did that. So yeah, he did obviously trigger a few Dale fans. One player I did want to mention though for Tamworth did get that second goal, Oliver Lynch. He really did make a nuisance of himself for our defence. Very, very good player. Honestly, I think he will go far. Made it difficult for us. I feel like Oliver Watmuth could have done better on this goal. He came off his line, shouldn't have done it. Very bad decision from him, but I'm not going to come on here and out the guy, because he has been exceptional for us this season. Young lad still, 18-year-old, so he is going to make mistakes here and there, isn't he? Very young keeper. But yeah, I think he could have done that a little bit better for the second goal for them. But then obviously, I don't know if anybody has seen that second goal for Dale. Dan Moss, I have said about Dan Moss since he has come into this Dale side, he has been exceptional for us. He is one of them players at the back. Don't get me wrong, he's very good at driving the ball forward, but he's a very good defensive, solid player as well. And he just does the simple things for us at the back. Bullet header, obviously from him. I think it was the Tarin Al-Arakia assist. He just goes straight in there, bullet header from him. He does put his body on the line. He bangs his shoulder against the post. Very, very brave player he is. Obviously, so a few Dale fans were a little bit concerned about him when he didn't get up after obviously scoring that goal. He is okay though, but yeah, he's just one brave player who consistently week in, week out. He works his socks off, he runs his socks off, and he's just one of them players that is just so passionate and really does wear that badge with pride. So thank you, Woking, for him, because since he's come in, he's been excellent. But then, just to make it all that little bit dramatic, we got given a penalty just before half-time. Mani Desirue does step up to take the penalty. We know what's happened recently with Mani Desirue in penalties. He scored the last one against Woking. The time before that was that controversial decision against Scunthorpe where did he touch the ball, did he not touch the ball, didn't let him retake it. So this time, obviously, he was going to miss the penalty. I think it aimed high, to be fair to Mani Desirue, because obviously Jazz Singh was in net, quite a tall keeper, so he aimed high. Didn't go in, that penalty, but yeah, it was one of them things where we thought, is it going to happen? Is it going to be one of them days where it's just not going to go well for us? But then obviously in the second half, we make a substitution. Mr. Greatest of all time himself, Mr. Ian Henderson, comes on. As mentioned in the chat as well, very bad defending from Brackley, but Ian Henderson comes on, chests the ball down, very cool and composed finish, puts us obviously 3-2 up, and that was the winner. Did make it difficult for ourselves, as I've mentioned. I think is what annoys me so much with Dale is we have a lot of the ball, we create so many chances, but we're not scoring the chances. Whereas from a York perspective, you're just going for it, Morgan. You're going out there, you're scoring a lot of goals. But from a Dale perspective, we're creating the opportunities, but we're just not finishing them. And that's where we're making it a little bit difficult for ourselves. But as you all know, we have obviously got a couple of players going out on international duty. Taryn Alarakia being one, and I just want to point out with Taryn as well, I know there's been a lot of our fans heavily criticising him. He didn't play well against Southend, to be fair. One of the goals he was at fault for, but I do want to come on and point out he had a fantastic game, I thought, against obviously Tamworth. It was really, really busy, caused a lot of problems for him. So I did want to obviously shout out to him. We are going to miss Oliver Watmore for 2 games as well, which is obviously not good. So we do have obviously, we didn't sign a goalkeeper today. We have Tuesday to hopefully, fingers crossed, get a goalkeeper in. There's a lot of rumours going around that Broom might be coming back, who we did have on loan when obviously Oliver Watmore were injured. From Bolton Wanderers, he's not on loan anywhere at the moment. I think he wants to come back as well. And he's one keeper who we can rely on. We've seen him, he knows the players, he knows the style of football we play to. So hopefully that does happen. I don't think Tom Miles is good enough for it. We've seen him in cup games and stuff, and don't get me wrong, he looks decent, but I think the pressure is on now. We cannot afford to drop points, so we need to get someone like Broom in, who obviously has that little bit more experience than Tom Miles. But one more thing I do want to say before we don't talk about Dale, Luke Hannon, obviously someone who Luke is very, very familiar with, is somebody I wanted in the summer. I felt like we needed someone like Luke Hannon to obviously, I think he's a fantastic player in general. Obviously, goal contributions, very good at National League level too. I think he suits Jim McNulty's formation. Unfortunately, it did go to Oldham in the summer, but we have our man finally. We have got him till 2027. I think he'll start against Scunthorpe. I think he'll actually play that Taryn Alarakia role because we are very, very short at the moment on players. We've got a lot of injuries creeping up on us too. So I'm very, very impressed with that signing. That does excite me. But yeah, another win. We are finally scoring late goals as well, which is something that we've not had about us recently in recent seasons, but we are grinding it out. We are getting a win. So hopefully long may it continue, but a very, very tough game, obviously. On Wednesday, we've got Scunthorpe away, so yes.
Char, are you worried at all about what has been said about Hannant's attitude? Because when he signed, you scroll through the comments of Oldham's announcement, and they're all really happy he's gone. They're saying, like, good riddance, thank God he's gone. There was a point where he was like shushing his own fans, kind of cupping his ears to his own fans. Are you worried at all about this attitude issue? Also, Dave, Watmouth misses Scunthorpe and Sutton away for Rochdale. They're the two he misses, if that's what you're wondering.
Yeah. Do you know what? When it comes to players with attitudes, I'm not that overly bothered, because I feel like with Jim McNulty, when he came to Rochdale as interim manager, before he got the job permanently, and then when he did get the job permanently, we had a lot of bad apples in that side. He is a very good judge of character, Jim McNulty. If he doesn't like someone, or if he obviously isn't really keen on their attitude, I'm not saying this is true, but there was a lot of rumours about Kyle Ferguson, and the reason Kyle Ferguson didn't play, this is just rumours, by the way, I don't know if it's kosher or anything, but a lot of rumours why Kyle Ferguson didn't play for us was because of his attitude. And obviously he was quick to then get him out. He got sent on loan to Yeovil, and then at the end of the season he's obviously gone to Yeovil. As I'm saying as well, I'm not saying that is the truth, by the way, so please don't take it as if it is, but they're the rumours that are going around. I think with Luke Hannon, if his attitude is as bad as it is, I don't think Jim McNulty would have signed him, if I'm being honest, because he's very, very... I'm not saying he hasn't had bad attitude at Oldham, but with Jim McNulty, he doesn't like those type of players who are very egoistic, who are very like... those type of ones who will upset the dressing room. He's not about that. He's about obviously having a dressing room where the players all get on, all have like, they're all friends, they're all a very good group of lads. And I think that does reflect on our dressing room, and obviously seeing the players, how they are in general with each other, seeing how they come across with fans. We are very, very lucky to have those. I think when it comes to Luke Hannon as well, if he is cocky in the aspect of on the pitch and stuff, if his performances does reflect on that, I am more than happy with that. I like those kind of players who do know that they're good, and obviously if their performances does reflect on that, then that is absolutely fine. It does obviously worry me at times when people are saying, oh, he's got a bad attitude, and or if he does upset the apple cart. But like I said, I don't think Jim McNulty would bring anyone like that into Rochdale, because he's all about obviously the togetherness, we're all a team and stuff, and I don't think he wants individuals who think they are better than what they are, kind of thing. But we will obviously find out. But if he scores goals, if he helps us win the league, you be cocky, Luke.
That's fair enough. Talking of like winning the league and stuff, I just want to put a bit of a comment out there. Dave, I know you're in the chat, and I listened to the Crux of It podcast earlier. York fans, go check it out. It's very, very good. But I just think there is a bit of a comment and a bit of arrogance from York fans. I know there was some comments made about, especially one that York would have the title wrapped up by March, which was mental to me. And there's been some comments about kind of Rochdale being this kind of thing you can't get off your back, you can't shrug. We're second. Like, I know we are in driving seat. If we win all our games, we win the title, fine. But I think there has been a bit of arrogance with York fans saying, like, we can't shrug Rochdale. We're the ones that are chasing. We're the ones that have always been chasing. We were 19th after 4 games. Like, I just want to put a bit of context on this. We're having an amazing season. I'm very much enjoying the fact we've scored 103 goals or whatever it is this year. And we're breaking all these records. It's been a lot of fun. But I think there needs to be a little bit more respect from York fans as to who we're chasing, because this Rochdale team are very, very good. I know you've dropped points. I know you've made it closer than you'd want it to be, considering where you were in the games in hand you had, and the fact you could have been 8 points clear. And now, if we win all our games to win the title, you won't have wanted that. But the fact that it's this close, it's not like if we win our next game, then we're 10 points clear and we just can't shake you off. It's the fact that we're still chasing you. I just think there needs to be a little bit more perspective put on this of, yes, we're very good, but we're not the only team going for this title. I think we're going to do it. But I think there just needs to be a little bit more perspective from York fans, and I think there might be some of us getting a little bit carried away. We are very good, but we're not the only team that are going for this title.
To be fair, I don't think it's just York fans, if I'm being quite honest. Like, I've seen a lot of it on social media, and the York fans I've dealt with on social media, because I've said several times when they've tried to, like, they've liked to throw the fishing rod kind of thing, and I'm like, you're not going to reel me in. I'm probably the one that it is wasted on, because I do not buy it whatsoever when it comes to banter. Like, I like having banter, but when it comes to kind of reeling me in, I just keep myself to myself and wait till like the football speaks for itself, kind of thing. I don't think it's just York fans, because there's a lot of the National League fans in general who are underestimating us, who are obviously saying about us, and there's a lot of people who don't actually want us to get promoted, which I'm really shocked about, because I don't think we've really. I know there's a selection of our fans who kind of rub people up the wrong way with some of the things they do say, but there's a lot of people who don't want us to go up, and I don't know why, because I feel like we've just been kind of going on about our business kind of thing, and there's a lot of people underestimating us. I think York fans are right within their rights to think what they think, and obviously they think they are going to, because they are an exceptional team. Obviously you're grinding, you're going on about your results, and you're winning by quite a lot of a margin, whereas we're now struggling defensively, we're struggling injury-wise, and I know everyone's saying about the record where York are obviously, when we do come up against each other, you win quite a lot of the times. But what I think a lot of people are underestimating Dale for is, at home, we are very, very good at home. I think we've only lost to obviously Halifax this season at home, and then that draw against Scunthorpe. They're the only points we've actually dropped at the moment at home, where people are underestimating us.
And the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I know it's not drop points, but the FA Cup.
No, yeah, the FA Cup. No, completely.
Can we just mention Alex Newby did score twice that day?
Yeah, completely. I think the thing what obviously is going your way in regards to against us is we're now getting a lot of injuries, and the injuries we are getting is to obviously very key players, but it's injuries which is going to sideline them for quite a while, like Joe Pritchard now. I think it's the end. I don't think he'll play for the rest of the season now, and that's a huge miss. We've obviously got the likes of Harvey Gilmore. I know he's due back in recent weeks. I think it was 6 weeks he was out for. But even then, with Harvey Gilmore, will we be able to rush him back? We've obviously got people dropping form, the likes of Devante Rodney, which we don't need at the moment, dropping form. We've got Taryn Alarakia and Oliver Watmouth obviously going out on international duty. We've still got Sam Beckwith who's out at the moment. We've got Toby Adebayo rolling, someone who we really desperately are missing. And I feel like Kyron Gordon is missing him in particular on that right-hand side. And he's somebody who obviously is very good at going forward. I think he's got the most assists for us this season, and we're really, really missing him at the moment. But then we have obviously got the quality and the squad depth in, like, our strikers, the Tyler Smiths, you can bring him on. Ian Henderson has shown. But I feel like at the moment, we are in that stage where we are picking up these injuries, and I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, people don't get injured now, because you've got the likes of Ryan East and Casey Petit there, very, very good midfielders, and we can't afford to lose any more players now, because it is getting to crunch time. There's no good time to pick up injuries, but I feel like now is the worst time to be getting these.
I think as well, taking it on to, like, say, tomorrow as well, or actually this week's games, does there feel any bit more pressure, though, the fact that Rochdale play second? Because obviously York play obviously tomorrow, they could be top of the league. I mean, regardless of what happens tomorrow, York-wise, Char, do you feel like, though, there's pressure, though, on Wednesday night? Because obviously you've probably got the tougher task in comparison to York, on paper. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like this week could be a pivotal one in the title race, considering what's at stake now, because there's very little room for error now.
Honestly, 100%. And I feel like we are our own worst enemies as well. Like, there's been several times where we've dropped points not several times, sorry, we've dropped points this season, but when we've dropped points this season, it has been because we are our own worst enemies. Like, even that Scunthorpe game, that penalty, it was just so bizarre to drop points against them. And then obviously we played well. We should have scored. We didn't score. It's like the Halifax game as well, that Halifax away game where we didn't deserve to win that game, don't get me wrong, but you go 2-1 up and then they get that equaliser so late on. It's just, I feel like with Scunthorpe as well, they have a point to prove against us. I know a lot of their fans want to beat us. A lot of their fans, for some reason, don't want us to go up. So they're going to be up for it as well. I just feel like our players cannot afford to be sloppy like they have been the last few games, because we really have been sloppy, especially our defence. And even if we do get Broom back, I'm not saying we will, but even if we do, he has still got a lot of pressure on him. It's going to be awful to be that keeper, whoever we do get, playing in that net when you've had someone like Oliver Watmuth, and we're missing him for 2 games now. So there's going to be a hell of a lot of pressure for whoever we do get to come into net and to play. It would just make it so difficult for ourselves, honestly. It's never smooth sailing, never when it's Dale.
You say that, but it's just, I look at it, you've won 30 out of 39 games this season, like, in the league. And that's what I don't, that's the thing. It's like, and yet it's still not enough to be, you know, in any other season, like maybe bar that one, obviously with Wrexham, Notts County, you would have won the league by now. But like, it is, I mean, personally, I mean, obviously this is more from a neutral perspective, but obviously for me, I'd love this to go down to the last day. I think it deserves to go down to the last day of the season, because both teams have been relentless all season. I know it won't do any of your, you know, you two, your hearts any good at all. But from a neutral perspective, I'd happily sack off watching our game against Bath City to watch that game, because it'd be much more entertaining given what's at stake. But
if you want a day to circle in your calendar, Saturday the 11th of April, we kick off at 12:30, and Dale don't kick off till 5:30. They've made us kick off 5 hours apart, rather than doing it at 3 o'clock. Is it the penultimate day of the season? I think.
Yeah.
No, it's the
last home game. It's the last.
Yeah, no, your last home game.
Yeah, it's the home game before we play you. It's the home game before we play you. Yeah, we've got Braintree in between.
Yeah, we play Yeovil the week after on the 18th.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the fact that the 11th of April they've split it up, so neither of us play at 3 o'clock, which I don't know what I'll do. I don't think my heart will deal with that day. Like, we play early, and then I'm going on holiday the same day, and so I don't know what I'll do. Game at 12, yeah. Wait, after 12, watch that, and then flight at 7.
I think about the fact that it's like, if it does go to that last game of the season, whoever loses out of that, that's going to be a massive, you know, barrier to cross now, because you've got to get your head together again for the playoffs. That's the thing, and it's like you can't dwell on it, because obviously it's going to be horrible to see whoever does it, you know, pick up that trophy in front of them. You have to see it, and you've been doing it all season together. But I find it so hard mentally to come back from that, you know, for the playoffs, and I think that's what the only thing that worries me. And this is what I hate, obviously, the fact it's not 2 up, because both teams deserve to go up. You know, that's the thing. Whoever wins out of the, you know, Rochdale, York, I want the other one to go and win the playoffs, because it's morally right. You know, I think the times like, you know, Halifax, who are 30 points behind York at the moment, 30, and they could still get promoted to the Football League, and York won't. That's what I just find absolutely crazy, to be honest. But look, from a neutral perspective, it's absolutely brilliant. It's great for the National League as well. And I think if it does go to that last day, I think you might get a few more watching that game than maybe you might in some of the bigger Premier League games. I really do think that, because it's such, you know, phenomenon that doesn't happen too often. If we had, obviously, because we had Wrexham Notts County a few years ago, that was, I think, the third last game of the season. If that was the last game of the season, that would have got millions of views across the world. So yeah, I'm the good boys how it goes. But I think we'll know a little bit more, I think, after midweek, to see what Rochdale have got mentally, you know, regardless of what York do tomorrow, to see if they've still got the fight and whether they're going to slip up. Because you still always feel that someone's going to slip up at some point. It's a case of, but who's going to make that? Who's going to blink first and take advantage? I just can't call it. You just can't. It's just like it is. But at the moment, classic case of who wins, attack or defence. That's what it boils down to at the moment. And it just, I honestly, I would not put money on it. Put it that way.
At least there's no Ben Foster playing this year.
No, I just wanted to address this as well. This was Sam Waller who played when you beat us at our place, and that's when he pulled, obviously, his hamstring and got injured. Yeah. So yeah, Waller did play last year.
Yeah, I was literally just checking it. Has Broom ever played against us? Did he play earlier this season?
I can't remember. Was it not Ollie Watmuth? When did we play you? When did we play
you? October, November.
That was Oliver Watmuth then, because we had Broom in December. His first game if I recall it correctly, was that Southend game where it got called off due to the rain.
Yeah, it was Watmouth that conceded 4 against us.
Yeah.
So he can concede 8 against us this season. That'd be nice.
Shut
4
up.
at home, 4 away. Go on, Ollie. That'd be cute.
Stop it. Right. I will get to the table now. So the league table, National League. So top of the National League, we have secured playoffs as well. Rochdale on 94 points. York City also has secured playoffs, second of the league at the moment on 92 points. Carlisle United are third on 78 points. Boreham Wood are fourth on 74 points. Scunthorpe United are fifth on 73 points. Forest Green Rovers, they are 6th on 68 points. FC Halifax Town is 7th on 62 points and in the relegation zone. 21st are Gateshead on 37 points. Morecambe are 22nd on 34 points. Braintree Town are 23rd on 34 points. And bottom of the National League are Truro City on 28 points. And that is it. The end of the show. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me this evening. As always, as well, even though nobody could be available tonight, it is in collaboration with the fantastic NL Fulltime. You can find them on all socials, NL Fulltime, and their new episode is available to listen to on all audio platforms. But Ben, where can everybody find you?
Well, no one's going to care about Maidstone anymore now in comparison to Rochdale and York. So, but I'll keep it simple for you. Ben Stones FC1 on Twitter.
Morgan, where can everybody find you?
On Twitter at _Morgan_Bruce. Sometimes in York Press, I did a preview before the Brackley game. I wasn't able to do one before. Gateshead to sort of a turnaround with work and then doing this straight after. But also I do another podcast that I am either recording tomorrow night or I'm in the Gateshead away end. That's called Broad Street to Britain, which is a UK baseball podcast with 2 of my friends. Which we do. We've done 6 episodes in the last couple of weeks, so it's usually once a week, maybe twice, depending on kind of what guests we get. And we're hopefully getting a guest from Philadelphia to come on tomorrow, who works for NBC Sports Philadelphia. So yeah, if you can check that out, I'd really appreciate it.
Definitely,
Broad Street to Britain.
And if anybody wants to follow me, I don't know why you would want to follow me because I can be a little bit annoying at times, but I do have good banter, to be fair. Morgan. I am Shah XREFC. That is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel as well. It is Ball and All with Shah, and it is Ball and All _ on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I have just yesterday done my new Let's Talk Rochdale. So if you do want to find out a little bit more about us, and I do talk a bit more about that Southend game, yes, Southend fans, go and check it out. I analyse it a little bit more on there. I don't just say get humbled because of Liam Humbles, I promise. I do give you credit as well. But of course, the main ones, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. On Twitter, we are Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube and Twitch, we are Absolute Football Podcast. On TikTok, we are Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football. And on Facebook, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. And we do have 4 live shows a week. Yes, we do. On a Monday, you can obviously catch ourselves with a fantastic NL Fulltime team talking National League North, National League South. On a Tuesday, we have a very, very happy Anne tomorrow. He is buzzing after that Sunderland-Newcastle game. I don't know if anybody checked out our socials, but we had his reaction from that score, from that winner. So yes, we have a very happy Anne. I think Sam's on there, Rebecca's on there, and I'm not too sure who else, but they talk all things Premier League football, so go and check that out. On a Wednesday, Freya is our fantastic host. She covers all things women's football, WSL, WSL2 with her team Chaos. And of course, I am back with a Rowdy Rabble. It's a little bit more rogue than this one. This is where I behave on a Monday. And then on a Thursday, anything can happen. we talk all things AFL football from the Championship, League One, and League Two. You can become a YouTube member as well, where you get special perks, special episodes where you can meet the team. And also, we do have a lot of content, from interviews to club episodes to our Women in Football series. So please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification, because then you will get notified when there's new content and when we are going live. But of course, thank you so much this evening for talking non-league football with us. Hope you all have a fantastic week, and hope all of your teams win, apart from Morgan's, hopefully. I'm only joking, that will backfire on me. But yes, have a lovely week, and ta-ta for now. Bye, everyone.